shadow has fallen over the town in recent months or years, but that would be an arbitrary statement, something that is quite true,
Mic off.
something very literal, is the presence of mist.
Mic on.
A mist has settled over Slumberhaven, and it has not lifted for some time. It is thick, it is moist, it is cool. And while the presence of an eternal mist that doesn't rise even in the middle of high sun for more than a week might seem bizarre enough, certainly no one in the village has ever experienced this before, there is a phenomenon even more curious, for in the world that you are from, the direction of the wind is tied intimately to the season and to geography as well. And when you're in the north wind blows strongest, but it only ever blows in winter. During the other seasons, the east, south, or west winds blow, as according to their seasonal predilection. And the wind should be transitioning now from west of autumn into the north of winter. It's that transitionary period. And there is no breeze coming from either direction. Normally, these winds would be fighting, quite literally fighting, as the exhausted autumn wind is forced to give way to a resurgent winter wind who has spent a year building up the power that it needs to turn the world white as it wants to. But neither of them are there. It is a stillness that none of you, nor anyone who lives in the village, has ever known in their lives. We've sent out hunters and furriers for no particular reason other than people need to eat. People need to do their jobs, and a bit of fog's not going to stop a 6'4" burly man with an axe and a bow. You know, sure, he can't see very far, but I've got to feed my kids. And so people have been going out. They've been taking to the boats, the little river boats, and going fishing, and they've been heading out looking for deer to lay their traps, and so on and so forth. But anyone who goes more than perhaps an hour's journey from the walls of our town hasn't returned. It's been several days now, 10 or more. We probably didn't start counting initially, but it's been a while, and the fog has not lifted, and so it's yet another dreary day, either opening the temple doors or waking up and then going to the tavern for a pint, or heading down to check the crab pots. Whatever you do for your morning ritual, it's just another morning here in Slumberhaven. Another morning where the laws of nature seem to have stopped working. What are you doing this early, chill, foggy day?
I watch a swan fly overhead.
You cannot see the swan. The fog is too thick.
Oh, well, I can hear it.
You can, and you can see it swim out there in the water of the rough river of the white water. But when it takes to wing, it disappears, and at a distance of 30, 40, 50 feet, it just vanishes into the cloud. It's like sitting in a permanent cloud that refuses to lift nor drop rain.
Guess Forrig is like cleaning up from the night before, washing, like wiping down everything, and like there's no wind right at all.
No wind at all, and business has been slow for you. No wind. No, there's not a breeze.
So
it makes for easy sweeping.
Yeah, and there'd be like you'd probably be like very sensitive to all sounds because it's really silent now, right?
Yeah, and because we're sensitive to sound, no one wants to make a sound. You hear roosters crowing. The roosters alone are bold enough to call in the dawn. But dogs, when they bark, they get shushed by their owners. And children, their children aren't really playing outside because how can they play in streets they can't see? There's a very muted effect to the town, and winter will mute people. People tend to stay inside and be a bit more dreary in the winter months. But winter's only just begun. This is not a time for dreariness. This is a time for making those last-ditch important decisions that'll get you through the winter. But everyone's just seems to have lost heart.
And I guess I'm serving Anton as well.
No doubt.
I am telling you, Varg, it ain't normal. It's not been like this in the past. Too early for this.
Aye, it's
There's
like
something going on.
being locked in a cavern.
I don't like it at all. It's just so close all of a sudden, you know?
Didn't know you were here, Elenway.
Oh yes, I've just popped in for lunch or breakfast, whichever it is.
With the silence everywhere, it's hard to tell what time it is.
I know. I don't like it at all.
Must be drinking time.
Aye, it's always drinking time.
Oh, you too. Should we? I mean, we should look into this, right? Like, we dealt with that troll. It was well over 10 days ago now.
People have been coming to your church, Elenway, and they've been asking, how my husband hasn't come back. What can be done? There's really no one to muster people together. If we need a militia, the mayor or the sheriff will call a militia. But this is not that sort of problem.
Mm.
Is it an emergency? Because if it is, no one's declared it yet.
Yeah, people have gone missing and they're not coming back, and yeah, it's the people are scared, beginning to worry. I feel like we should try and take a look.
Reckon we should ask the man.
Ask the mayor, speak to him.
Yes, I mean this is clearly a problem affecting the town.
Hmm. Well, yeah,
Or perhaps petition the princess. After all, she has an affinity for weather magic, does she not?
Yeah, I feel as though she would be a good person to make contact with. But speaking with the mayor first is a decent idea. See if he has any ideas.
No, so this hasn't really been declared an emergency yet, but perhaps it should.
It's just about at the point, isn't it?
Only about half my students are showing up for classes, I should say so.
Aye, it's a rut we're all in now.
Well then, why don't we swing by the mayor's place once we're all done here? We'll just pop in and have a word.
Alright.
I'm just gonna run back to the church. I just have to grab a few things. Kind of like hurriedly get up and leave.
You almost run into an old woman that you know very well, who's gone down to the shore to gather snails and clams. She bids you farewell, but you hear her mutter something about no one doing anything. And you remember that her son is a fisherman who goes out to get eels, but you've never known him to spend, well, more than one night out in the wilds anyway. And he's been gone 4. Alright, so the group gathers under the statue of Nautica, where there is some. Perhaps it's a little bit warmer here. Perhaps the sheer size of the structure disperses the mist, but it seems thinner. In the center of town, Where are we? Slumberhaven. Where the statue of the woman who became an angel adorns this northern town of 1,000 people. And some of you have gathered here on purpose, and some of you gather here by accident. But by fate or fortune, all of you are standing in the shadow of this angelic warrior woman. As High Sun tries its best to penetrate through this eternal fog. As said, you're all here, whether you were called or not, whether it's just design or chance. And it's such a large gathering to have, all standing around, and it occurs to you that you are the people who fought off the troll. You are the people who rescued a lost girl. There are other people around as well, people with dogs and chickens, but you're all gathered here. And some of you have a purpose. Do you intend to share it with the rest of them?
Hey, it looks like we'll be the ones handling this mess. Sven kind of glances around all the other townsfolk. I'm guessing it's mostly like your peasant kinds that have probably never fought a day in their life.
Not really. Slumberhaven is a pretty tough town. While, yeah, they mostly are people who've never fought a day in their life against other people, they live in a hostile land, and the men in particular have to be strong enough to go out into the wilds and catch deer, and occasionally have to fight off a bear. In fact, every militiaman here wears the skin of a bear that they've killed themselves, whether through arrows or traps or mortal combat. So they're a hardened people, but they are still what you'd term common folk, for the region at least. The North makes you hard or you die. And,
Oh yeah, but
yeah.
I meant like standing amongst the crowd. I'm guessing, despite being level 1 adventurers, the party members are kind of not to say sticking out like a sore thumb, but more
Tougher nuts.
yeah, like the
Somewhat.
ones that do stand out.
You're more like the
I
gentry
have the
than anything
opportunity.
else. You're more like the gentry. Some of you have got some money, others of you have got some power, whether magical or otherwise. Some of you are still part of the regular folk, but you kind of form a kind of a middle class, somewhere in between the positions of power, like the mayor, and everyone else.
I will call him out if we're talking to him. Otherwise, we might as well just march up onto the princess's place.
The princess is not here.
I know. Talk to the mayor. What we here for?
But the princess is not in Slumberhaven.
Nah, talk to the mayor is what I'm saying.
Oh, oui. Yes. Sorry, I'm still hungover.
We should,
You're able to. Sorry, yeah, please. I was just going to move it along, but please go. Keep going.
we should just, we should get to the mayor and tell him, and let him tell the people. This crowd is making me nervous.
Very well, and I will walk up to the mayor's door and I will knock 3 times.
Excellent. And you find yourselves all around a tall table, a council chamber. It's probably the biggest building in town, and it has a long table in the central chamber, so that roughly 7, 8, maybe 10 people can gather around and talk. The number of the council has never been properly defined. It's never needed to be. One person in charge with a princess with the real authority is all we'd ever really needed. But things might be different now. And so you're all gathered around this beautiful black mahogany table. that sits underneath several portraits of strong men, broad-shouldered with thick white moustaches in many cases, and quite a few women that are tall and muscular and have a warrior feel about them as well. This hall has no mist in it. You're secluded from the mist here in the middle of this town hall, and thus the decisions that you make are somewhat freed from the oppression of the blank whiteness outside. You've got a warm fire going. There is whiskey and brandy and wine, and tasty morsels of cheese and of bread and of different sweetmeats. And the mayor is at a loss. He feels like he's erred for not sending out someone earlier, but on the other hand, when Tom went missing, Boris said that he'd go and find him, and then Boris didn't come back either. It's the mayor is not going to pieces per se, but he's in over his head, and he almost cedes control of the agenda to the collection here, particularly to Elenway, and to I suppose old Sven as well, just on account of both his age and his race. And so that's the problem. He's at a loss here. All resources are at your disposal. This is an emergency in all but name. What do we do? Troll killers?
Might be a bit dark for me to say this, but something might be lurking out there. And, well, if we sit around in the village, people are just going to keep disappearing one by one. The solution here might be for a few of us tougher nuts to head out together.
Agreed. We must do something.
Hey, do you reckon we should venture off to the princess, try and get her help?
I'd say
How
so.
far is she from the town?
Oh, 25 miles, I think. 25 miles.
It is not too terrible.
There is a road that
Just
leads all the
unfortunate.
way there. But when you will find a crossroads that will take you between the castle and Vale Norn. I know that you know the way to Vale Norn.
That might be our course of action then.
I think so. We should maybe take a monster hunter kit. I think one of the trappers had put one together, just in case we encounter anything particularly nasty out there.
Yeah. It is fine. I have that covered.
Oh, excellent! So resourceful.
A room of professionals.
Sure, I am that. That is what I am.
If you aim to get to Vale Norn or to the princess's castle, you should not lose sight of the road. Make sure you always stay along the road. In a mist like this, you might get lost.
You have a point. Hey, do we leave today?
Do we have anything we might use to navigate that won't be interfered with by the mist?
Looks around the room for any ideas.
I read a story once about breadcrumbs.
Hey, but then animals will just eat it.
Not the most
Perhaps
reliable. I mean,
not breadcrumbs then.
you could use perhaps chalk, mark the path, but leaving anything of the sort's reliability may be lacking. As long as we're following the road, it shouldn't be too difficult. My concern is what could be out there, what could be causing this.
Well, that's what we're here to find out, and we can do it. We can get it done.
Just a simple trek up to the princess, right?
Hmm.
The men that have gone missing so far, they may not be hardened soldiers or anything of the sort, but hunters in the sort, they can normally look after themselves.
And this is their home territory. They should not get lost.
I think it should be clear for everyone before we head out here. There's a chance none of us may come back.
You're putting too much of a dour spin on it, mate. It's just a mist.
Maybe it's best if the women and the old men stayed behind.
Shoot
Sven's kind of gonna scowl at him.
shoot like a fierce glare at this mayor.
He shuts up. He doesn't say anything for the rest of the meeting. Just grabs some brandy, pours it, drinks it. Grabs some more brandy, pours it, drinks it.
Hey,
Yeah, I can't imagine it'll be that bad, Sven. It's a very dreary way of looking at it.
there's a bunch of us.
Oh,
Just being realistic, lass.
What if it's like another troll, but like a mist troll, eh?
easy enough to deal with. We've done it before.
Could also be the monsters' hordes have come early this year.
Alright then. Wouldn't we know by now?
I'd say we already do. A troll's already come into the town. What was that?
The red
Freak,
cap.
if you could even call him a man.
Yeah, it was a red cap.
Red cap.
They were
Red
Yes.
cap,
fierce.
trolls. Hey, there's monsters around, alright.
Well, no use talking about it. Might as well grab our gear and head off on the trail.
So we are going to Hell Castle.
Yes.
Okay.
25 miles, that's about about 8 hours travel.
About a day. It's, yeah, in weather like this, when you don't want to lose the path, you'd
Walk slowly.
likely to. Yeah, that's right. Probably about half speed. So 2 to 3 days if you're being careful, but you could make it in a day if you want to force march it. Yeah.
Does the town have horses we could requisition for this? I'd prefer to get this done quicker than longer.
Or at least a horse and cart. If they cannot spare so many horses.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it in this. It's if it is monsters about, horses are just gonna draw them even faster.
Means we deal with the problem quicker. If whatever's out there comes to us.
I trust in my legs.
A group of us on horses, I figure one of us is at least more likely to get away in that instance. Get back to town or get to the princess.
You manage to if you go down this path, you'll manage to get 1 horse and 1 D8 mules.
I think it is best not to court danger in this way.
Maybe a mule to carry our stuff, but
Do you have so much?
no, I can carry all I got.
I have quite a few things, and I'm not exactly a pack mule myself.
Just one mule will do, and if we're like in a bad situation, it serves as more extra rations.
Very well.
Guess we take one mule for the ride then.
All right. If you're picking the mule, roll an animal handling check.
Alright. My wisdom is not the best. Natural 20.
Beautiful. What do you look for in a mule?
One that won't like bolt away immediately if there's like like just leave us behind when there's like anything startling, and one that
Yeah.
is like looks healthy and not diseased or anything. Well, they wouldn't keep diseased ones, but not
Yeah.
old and not skittish.
All right. You find a war mule. It's the sort of donkey that you can attach a chariot to, and while it doesn't go very fast, it's at least as fast as a person, a bit faster.
This thing's built like me.
Yeah, it's like the Mongol steppe ponies. Think of it like that. It's like a steppe pony, and so they're really hard-headed and they do what they're told, but they're also very tough. So it also has +2 to its constitution on top of what a
It
pony
is-
would normally have.
It is to a horse what a dwarf is to a human.
Yeah, that's why I said it's built like me.
Yeah, yeah. So I think are there stats for donkeys?
Yeah,
Or-
under mule in the PHB.
All
I mean,
right, I
the
see.
mule.
Okay, cool. Your
Maybe in
donkey
the
has +2 to
PHB.
con.
It'd be in the PHB too, right? Because it's a
Well, the base
Mount.
roll. Base
plus
rolls.
two, +2 to the original +1, or just +2 instead of +1?
+2 to its constitution score.
Oh,
So
okay.
if it's like 13, it
that's
becomes 15.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got a tough mule. Those HP goes up as well.
Her name is Pumpkin.
Pumpkin the war mule.
That's right.
And she's so cute. Oh, I love her.
I think a war mule picks its own name.
I think she was given the name because she smashes heads like pumpkins.
Alright. Am I already seeing spare characters in the character list?
You should.
Oh, Roland, that's probably the Rumble and Roots guy, is it?
Yeah, I think that is.
Before we get proper into the session, is he like in the party still, Arctic?
The 8th player?
Rumblin', yeah.
I don't think so, no. I mean, no.
Because yeah, he'd made his character in Roll20, but he hasn't showed up for 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, exactly. And when I make games this big, I tend not to think that they'll stay that big. And so this is good. It's kind of what I expected, that not everyone would stay. Usually people don't, and this is good. So we've got the right number now, so it should be good.
Strong 7.
Yeah. So so hopefully everyone can stick around.
Alright.
Just getting Pumpkin's picture. Alright, so what's the stats under? Is it's not donkey?
It's
the
mule.
Mule.
So with +2 con, it would have 15 con.
Yeah.
Ooh.
They normally have 11 HP.
She's not actually a mule. She's a donkey.
Oh yeah.
Don't be a bitch. Roll for hit points.
Oh, and it's considered large for the purpose of determining carry capacity.
It's a mule, dude. They're lads.
Oh, and it has strength and dexterity, advantage on strength and dexterity saving throws against going.
Who said to roll? Who's going to roll for the hit points?
That was Grady. Eat your words.
Oh, fuck. I just fucking hit a favorite instead of going to the chat.
Roll
Fuck.
1d8, because it gets max hit points at the first level. It's an adventure donkey.
Oops. 1. Well, these. 8.
One.
8. Fuck.
+3.
Oh!
Alright, there we go.
Good.
So 8, 14 plus
So 18
Yeah.
total if you're adding all the
4.
cons?
14 plus 4? 14
Since
plus 4, yeah.
since she's a war donkey,
18.
should we break out the companion rolls and give her some levels in fighter?
Not yet. She has to adventure first.
Does she come with saddlebags?
No, but she comes with a cart.
Oh, sick. That's worth it. Righty then. It's a hardy one.
War donkey.
Alrighty then.
She got more health than anyone here.
True that.
How much health? How much does she have?
18.
Holy
Oh
crap!
wow.
Party tank.
Well, I mean, Vorg effectively has to.
Yeah. Unless someone gets the drop on me.
Yeah.
Need the alert feat, so I never get dropped on.
As you all now know, Slumberhaven is famous for the strength of its donkeys. The steppe donkeys up in the north are a hardy beast, a great beast of burden, loyal, and not easily startled by the pressures of combat. But who knew until now? Do we have any more preparations that we would like to make? Are we going to ransack this town as we gather resources for our one-day journey?
Maybe we should just roll the d8, get a whole group of donkeys to take care of the problem.
You can take more donkeys if you need them. They've been volunteered.
And then the next troll we
donkeys
come
volunteer?
up against, the donkeys can just swarm it.
Donkey strike.
I'm just gonna leave whoever I deem would be like the next in charge at the church, like some acolyte
All
or
right.
like whoever it might be. I'm just gonna.
The altar boy.
Tell us about your, the deacon that you choose. They're just a layman. They don't have magical power or anything. But what is it about this person that makes them worthy of your appointment?
Since I met them initially, since they came into the church, there's always been like an air of, yeah, I can trust this person. Like there's always been like that kind of gut feeling for Ellen Way.
All right.
Yeah.
The demon child.
Her name is Dawn.
And yeah, and that's even more of an incentive to pick her.
All right. Dawn is a choir girl, and normally all she does is sing and sweep the floor. But you see in her someone who is committed and has the brightness of the sun in her.
Is there a way I can get my hands on like a stiff leather coat thing?
Oh, absolutely. A stiff leather coat is provided for you.
Sick.
It's not particularly stylish, but it belonged to a man who has gone missing. And, well, may it bring you luck. May you find him in your journeys while you wear his coat.
And then
Also-
eventually change it.
Should we?
You have dead
What
man's
is it?
coat.
Is it in the middle of?
Beg your pardon?
Is it in the middle of winter?
It is not. It is the start of. It should be the start of winter, but the seasons are all messed up. It's unusually mild for the start of winter. There's no wind blowing. There's no snow falling.
Okay.
So
we don't need to prepare for harsh conditions.
Oh, maybe like seasonally, blizzards could blow up at any time. Yeah. You think of it as maybe October or November in Michigan or some northern state. You never know. Like a cold front could come blasting through and last for days, but the weather looks mild for now. It looks like good working weather, apart from the fact you can't see. Yeah. So it's unusual.
I'll purchase a nice pelt, maybe wolf or bear if there are any going.
Yeah, sure. You can get a
Furs.
wolf pelt for 10. It's not very big though. Bear pelt, big brown bear, 25.
I'll requisition like a sturdy travel coat or something, cloak or something.
Yeah. They
Anton,
wouldn't be expensive as I quoted because this is this is close to the source. So it would have been like what did I say 20,
25.
10 and 25? No, it'd be more like 5 and 5 and 10. Yeah, up here
Okay.
much less.
Awesome.
Yeah, the cloak's the normal price, whatever the player's handbook price.
Oh, well, then never mind. I cannot afford this.
I'd probably like set up a. I wouldn't let anyone in charge of my little mushroom shack. I'd just like set a little like bore at the door. If someone walks in, it puffs out and gasses them.
Yeah, no worries. You're only going to be gone a day or two. It's
Yeah.
unlikely that people are going to break into your place. That like you of all people.
I'll just set up a manager. There's probably someone that works there already with me.
Like a barmaid or the
Yeah.
cook or what?
Yeah, I'll get the regular barmaid to run it while I'm gone, because I mean, even if it's 2 days, people still need a drink.
Raven is very thankful, but she doesn't know if she's up for the task. She's never been in charge of anything before.
I just wipe down the benches in the morning and in the night, and just serve them alcohol.
Well, what if
Not
there's
hard.
some trouble? What if men get rough?
I call the cook out from the back, and he'll bash him over the head with a saucepan.
She giggles, but she looks forward to seeing you come back. But when you leave, you look around, and she looks bravely around as if there's some great task that she's ready to confront.
Also, you could just hide a crossbow under the
Oh.
bench if you really need to.
Oh, I didn't know you were still there. A crossbow. Do I keep it loaded?
Maybe.
She gets very excited, a little bit pale, and then she sets up a light crossbow, keeps it loaded. It will eventually go off and hurt someone, but that's not for quite a while.
That's
We're
neither
gonna
here
come
nor there.
back. She has an eye patch.
Alcohol and arrowheads.
Just point it towards the bar. Just point it towards the wall when it's loaded.
No worries. Oh, yeah, some flabby fisherman cops a crossbow bolt in the arm. Oh! So yeah, well, what was that last request? Nothing.
Oh, my daughter. I have one of those. Elizabeth will stay at the church while I'm away.
But I'll be okay in the house for one night by myself, Father.
Oh, I would rather you not be alone.
I'll keep the doors locked, Father, and the windows shut. It is quiet in the streets this past week.
That is what worries me.
Yes, Father. And
Oh.
so she's not particularly happy with your decision, but acquiesces after only a little bit of struggle.
Great.
And so one of the last things that you would see, Augustin, as the gates open and Pumpkin drags our cart out into the still whiteness beyond. You look back, and through one of the stained glass windows of the church, you can see your daughter studying some of the 7 sacred laws, brushing her hair to one side and putting it behind her ear. But she doesn't notice you as the party begins its procession out into the wilds.
What was that?
Can I take a small cask of ale?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank God.
Anton's gonna do 1 or 2 things before he leaves, if you don't mind. Sorry, I hate to backtrack a little
Absolutely.
bit.
Go for it.
First, he's gonna buy like a warm waterproof cloak if he can find one.
Waterproof. What do you mean by that?
They had different like waterproofing techniques back then.
Like an
they-
oil skin that you wear on a ship or something?
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So it's not fur lined.
Yeah.
It's just leather, right?
One with fur if you can find it for because this is like icy waters almost, isn't it?
It is pretty cold waters. Yeah, that's a nice coat. That'll cost you 25 gold pieces.
All right.
Here it'll cost you 15. You can get a discount here.
All right. And just because this is something he would already own, but there isn't prices for, how much would a violin cost?
Sure.
Like a
yeah.
mid.
It depends, but 50 to 250.
Say 50. He's
Yeah.
not rich.
Yeah, it's more like
Alright.
Is it a proper violin or just a fiddle or a viola or something? Violins are pretty high tech.
Yeah, he already has a fiddle. So yeah, just like basically a nicer fiddle for like more formal occasions.
All right, but still just a fiddle. Still a.
I don't know the actual distinguishment between the instruments.
Mostly the technology level. So like whether or not you're taking something that's an instrument that's only just been invented or something that's been part of the cultural heritage for hundreds of years. Fiddling is something that we've been doing for a long time, but a violin is a thing of precision and elegance.
All right, so yeah, just like a very quite nice fiddle then.
Perfect. Cool.
So 50 gold pieces.
Yeah,
and,
it's a lovely fiddle.
Yeah, before he leaves, he's gonna leave lesson plans behind for his older students, and say if he's not back in time, to just do him a favor and deliver the lesson plans to his students, and just basically teach classes for the day.
Yeah, the substitute teacher. Her baby is about 18 months old now, so she doesn't have to be at home all the time, and she comes in and looks at your lesson plan and says, "This is only for 2 or 3 days, right?"
That's right.
Well, be careful out there. I'm glad that you're going in such a large group. It seems quite dangerous.
Yeah, these do seem to be the most capable people in town. I'm not that worried.
She sort of laughs at the thought. I suppose they are.
Anyway, thank you for doing this for me. I'll take you to the tavern when I get back as a thank you.
Wonderful. And I'd like to get you to introduce me to the princess as well, if you don't mind.
Of course. I'll pass you along.
She goes
All right.
over your notes.
And with that, I think he sets it apart.
Wonderful. The gates of Slumberhaven close behind you. There is a road that stretches out ahead. On one side, you can see the rocky edge of a mountain fading soon, and on the left-hand side, it's much more thickly forested. The pine trees form a network, a web. That this time of year, there's as good chance as not that there'll be a thin layer of snow covering all over the place. As likely as not, but right now there isn't. The snow hasn't fallen, and thus the grass, which is beginning to die, stands among towering green pines. Do you have any special, I guess, is there anything that you do while you travel? Do you sing? Do you talk about things? Do you stay completely silent? Is someone going off into the woods to hunt and forage? Or do we just keep a pace with the steady gait of Pumpkin as she keeps her head high and her back straight, wandering along this lonely road.
I reckon we ought to keep quiet. There is something prowling around here.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep eyes and ears out as best I can, given the fog, for signs of malicious creature or animal.
I will do the same.
Anton is going to take a sketchbook out and just look for anything that strikes his eye to sketch.
Hmm.
Fog.
I guess we should probably just do some magical.
Yeah, he's probably getting quite frustrated with it. For lack of anything else, he might just start drawing the cart and the people in it.
What was that magical project that you had in mind?
Djukovic is just gonna do some magical tinkering using the ability, and then he's gonna make a just a small box. Start a recording, and he's gonna wait 5 seconds, and at the 6th second, he's gonna say over here, and then stop the recording, so that when he plays it back, it'll wait 5 seconds, and then play over here at 6 seconds, and then.
All
that's what
right.
he's
Now your little legs are a bit slower than everyone else's, and you're quite busy with your little tinkering. It's not. It would be difficult for most people to do this on the run. Most people would need a desk and a workshop, but you're good at it. And so you're able to just make a little recording box on the run, literally on the run. Oh shit! I've got to run because I can't see where anyone else is. You can still hear them. You can hear the creaking of the cart wheels. You can hear the trotting and the clomping of the donkey's hooves, and the rattling of armor. And you don't hear much talking. No one's talking, but you've lost them. What do you do?
Well, I guess I'd head towards the direction of the sound of the cart as quickly.
How
as I could.
fast? As quickly as you can.
Yeah, I guess I'd be really startled by this, looking up from my work and being like, oh shit, no one's here. I'm alone. I'm scared, and I'm gonna start running towards the sound of the cart.
Many of you are keeping an alert eye and ear out yourselves, and there's not much to see, which only sharpen the sound. And the fog should block it, but it seems to somehow carry. And there is something coming at you from behind. It sounds like it weighs about 50 pounds, probably bipedal, and it jingles and jittles, rattles as it approaches.
Don't mind that. I'm just fixing up some spells.
There's a reaction.
Yeah.
No wonder he's so old.
That can one hit me at max
Never.
damage.
Can you roll damage? I just want to see you roll damage for the sake of it.
Just to see if it would one shot me.
Yeah, that's right. Just for scientific research purposes.
No,
Oh.
almost, but no.
Almost.
Not down one hit.
So the gnome catches up, and you all see that.
I'm human.
Oh, you are a human. I just automatically go with scientist. No, I'm sorry about that.
That's alright.
So you do you wear robes?
They're not exactly robes. It's more of
Toga.
like a
Smock.
yeah, sort of like I guess what you'd expect inventors to wear, sort of like working aprons, but not like a full long apron. It's more
Yeah.
like a short apron that I wear around and constantly have. And
Okay, that's a little more practical than just running down the road in robes. So that's
yeah.
skirts is better than dresses.
A utility kilt.
That's it.
Kinda, yeah.
So the inventor arrives, and his hands are filled with gear, and but your little recording box, it suddenly speaks. What does it say?
It's over here, basically.
He's the voice. You swear the voice came from within the box. You all look at it, and it's as if he's trapped a fairy or a tiny little man inside.
Box caught your tongue.
Oh no.
What spell is that?
It's not actually a spell. See, if if you take apart the mechanical engineering and then apply the magical essence of the weave into this part of this here and that part there, and he starts rambling for like until you stop him, basically explaining the intricacies of making magical equipment and for multiple purposes.
Anyone trained in Arcana
Anton.
has a basic understanding, but if you lack Arcana, you can't even understand it at all.
Anton will not cut him off. He'll
Can I-
just like listen eagerly.
Could I get that explanation in the common tongue?
I put magic into the gears, and I can record sounds that are spoken into it, and then play back.
Just a blank stare. Helen Way does not get it.
Dukovic, he just doesn't. He kind of like is thinking, but he can't think of an easier way to explain it. Like he just can't. It's so simple to him. It's like this is it. That's all it is.
But what spell is it?
It's not a spell. I made it from scratch.
So you made a spell.
Let's just say yes.
Can you teach me it?
It's quite the process. You'd have to learn for a while, but I'm sure I could.
Yeah, you have to learn a while for any spell.
I suppose you're right. It's not exactly a spell, though. You'll understand once I teach you.
Sure, and he'll just like lean over and wait for Dukovic to start explaining.
Multi-class coming up.
Perhaps.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Wizard.
I guess I'd start another one, like a different one, and I'd make a scent one this time. And basically, as I'm making it and putting it together, I'd explain it. But you notice his hands move like really quickly.
How long do they take, and do they cost any money to manufacture?
It didn't say it costed anything. So, imbue a tiny non-magical object with a magical property of your choice, 5 feet radius light up to 6 seconds. A long recorded message emits odor or non-verbal sound. Static visual effect, including up to 25 words or text. It can affect a maximum of 3 objects at a time. So I'd probably just pull random objects out of my pack. But I was
think it's included in the like Tinkerer's kit that that it assumes that
that you've got nuts and bolts and junk.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just
yeah.
The whole class says basically reflavor the whole thing if you want to that sort of thing. So I just make stuff.
Yeah, no, that's really good. That's really good. It's good to see how it works. Yeah, cool.
It just takes one action. 6 seconds.
Yeah, right. That's a pretty versatile class. How interesting.
I want to play like a Stone Age version of that.
That'd be cool.
Grog put rock on stick and now make magic.
Yeah, Grog.
Fear me, I have the Ooga Booga gun.
So that's my next character. Sorry, guys.
Grog
Hans, get the Ooga Booga. The Booga's Ooga.
That's
Grog
the
smack.
command
All right.
word.
You're in the mists. Everyone can make a perception check. Right. Vorig and Augustin, you don't hear or see anything. There's no wind blowing. The trees aren't groaning because there's nothing to make them sway. Anton, Dukovic, Mundatus, Elenway. It's the same for you. There's no wagon wheels rolling. There's nobody out in the fields. There's no twangs of bowstrings nor stampeding deer. And old Sven, you've been around. Your ears might not be as sharp as they were and your eyes not as bright, but you don't hear bird nor breeze. You don't hear rabbit, nor fox. You don't hear children playing or farmers toiling, nor housewives washing their clothing in the river. You just hear the clump, 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 clump as we walk along these stone-paved roads through this endless mist that refuses to lift.
You all hear that?
Nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah, excuse me.
Now we hear
Dustin.
something.
It's unnatural. There should be all kinds of creatures and forest folk, all sorts of life, but we can't hear anything.
Maybe they're all asleep.
Not even a cricket.
You know, escaping from the mist and the fog. It's scary. Maybe they're just, you know, they're just hanging out.
Hey, it's scary, alright.
Can almost hear the ringing in me head.
Anton's gonna draw his rapier and just kind of hold it, just as almost like a comfort thing.
The steel is cold.
I really don't like this.
Aye, well.
An insight check, perhaps.
From
Okay.
everyone.
Yeah. Anyone who hopes to dare look into the mist and glean something from it. Or
That's a
Jeez.
20 with my bardic thing where I add half my proficiency.
You can turn that on
Cool.
in the cog.
Oh, can I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go to the big cog, and I think it's down the down middle bottom. There's a little click for Jack of all trades.
Yeah.
I
It'll
really
come
like
on.
that.
Thank you.
Yeah, really
Nice.
appreciate that. I really like that. You've all lacked perception to some degree, but you've all seen through the fog, as it were. You don't need your eyes to perceive. You don't need your ears to hear and to understand. You know these lands, right? That's the thing. You know these lands. Some of you have lived here for months, some years, some of you it may be the whole entirety of your lives. You're walking along a single lone stone road. There is forest on the left. There is now forest on the right. The Rocky Mountain has given way to more forest. These should be farmlands. There should be driveways leading up to homesteads and cabins up in the hills, and they're not. It's the fog is hiding what shouldn't be there. This is unfamiliar territory, and the only thing that seems familiar is the road. The road is the same road that you've walked on for months or for years.
Have we noticed any change in the temperature?
No,
Did we take a wrong turn?
We haven't told.
That's what I'm thinking. Are they the same type of trees?
make a nature check.
Right.
They're pines.
Look close enough.
If Dugovich looks up at the sky, is it night or?
It can't be night because there's ambient light, but you don't see a sky, and you haven't seen one for days.
Anton's gonna look around and say, "Does anybody have a copper piece on them?"
Yeah. It passes you a copper piece.
Do you mind? And he leans it over the back of a cart like he's gonna drop it.
It's fine. It's yours.
He drops it, and for the next like couple hours, he keeps an eye out to see if they pass it again.
Alright. Make a perception check. Alright, I will give you an update when we settle for the night or when we reach our destination, whichever comes first.
All right.
Is there anything that the party wants to do during this event, this journey?
Sven's like nervously polishing his spear. He's like got it specifically held at the ready.
Yeah, Augustine is turning up rocks to see if the dampness is from the mist and just on the top of it, or if it's thing that has gone all the way down into the underside of, like a rain or something.
Say that again, sorry?
He's gonna turn up rocks to see if they're damp underneath them as well as on top. Because it
Yeah.
hasn't rained or anything, right?
No, but the mist, yeah, has. No,
Yeah,
it's
damp at the top.
it's dry underneath. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. All of the moisture settles on the surface.
Lenway is probably going to pull out her prayer wheel and light like a stick of incense and just pray to the sun for a safe journey.
What do you? Tell me your prayer.
Basically asking for guidance on the path and for his glorious light to return, so that we might travel easier, feel safer, feel the warmth of his touch on our faces. And general like good spirit, and try and keep up, try to keep the party at ease. You know, like I pray for like everyone to feel just a bit more relaxed.
Roll a D100. You don't know if it's your imagination at first, but you become certain soon enough. Now, two things happen simultaneously. While you're leaning forward and stretching off into the growing darkness, and evening must be falling, twilight must be upon us, because the light of day is already beginning to fade. And as you peer off into the mist along the road, you swear you see illumination, that of a large fire, 1,000 feet away, maybe more. But through this fog, you shouldn't be able to see it. And but you can just vaguely make it out, the way we might make out the lights on a plane through a foggy night, or a lighthouse, the lights of a lighthouse. Yeah, that's a more apt description. And while you're leaning forward and trying to ascertain that you do see what you think you see, Anton, you spot a copper coin lying on the road. You pass over it.
It's official. We're going in circles.
Is it? Is that
We
the
can't-
same coin?
We can't be going in circles.
Guys, there's something up ahead. Look, there's light directly along the road.
You see no light.
What are you talking about?
Is it still there for me, or is it kind of
Yeah.
dissipated?
It's dim. It's a fog light in the distance, but it's there.
It's just look right along my arm here. Look, just over there. It wouldn't appear as much, but it is there. I can see it.
don't see it. If that's your coin, Anton.
I dropped it. How many hours ago?
That's a good question. Make an insight check.
Hey, but we didn't like turn or anything. How did we get back?
Wait,
You
can't-
dropped it too few, Anton. So this journey, we left it relatively early in the morning. We've been traveling for about 8 hours. It should be 3:30, 4 p.m., or 5 p.m. at absolute latest. It's getting dark, and it's more than an hour early.
How long ago did I drop that coin, though?
Good question.
Do I
About
know?
4 hours? Yeah, about 4 hours ago.
I dropped that coin 4 hours ago, and we've just passed it again.
Wouldn't we notice a bend in the road?
Yeah, it's that can't,
Obviously, this fog's unnatural. I think it's doing something.
that can't be your coin, surely.
How many other copper coins get dropped in the bare middle of the road?
I don't know. Perhaps there are other travelers through here. It's a road after all.
Well, might I suggestion, if I put some magical essence into the coin and we drop it again, we could leave a message, and if we come across it again, we could play it back.
How long does that last for?
Why don't I just paint it red?
Or just stick it up in a weird angle?
Anton will stop the cart, pick the copper coin up.
When you pick the copper coin up, you've got that massive perception check from earlier. You pick the copper coin up, is it yours? You're not sure anymore. You're looking at this coin, it's a copper coin. It's the right size, the right shape, tarnished like the one that you flicked away, but you've never seen the head on the face before. All the coins that we usually deal with have the White Witch's coin. She's pretty. The princesses they've always been a little bit iffy about using foreign coins. It's a nationalistic thing. And this is the coin from a kingdom that you're not familiar with. Now, you likely in your purse have some other coins from places like Bastion and other realms beyond, but you can't remember if you flicked away a local coin or this strange coin that, quite frankly, you can't recall ever seeing before.
Oh dear. He kind of walks back up to the cart. Who gave him the coin?
Dujevich.
He shows it to Dukovich and says, I'm not certain this is the coin I flicked away. Do you recognize it?" And he holds it up.
You can make a history check, perhaps, Dukovich.
It's my jam. Never mind, it's not my jam.
You don't recognize it, but you don't remember either. I mean, I suppose you're the sort of meticulous man who, from time to time, would pull out his pockets and find a coin curious, but as likely as not, a copper that's the same size, the same weight as the copper pieces that you use every day, it would be, easy to not notice. Maybe you had this coin all along, but you're not sure. It has the visage of a man who, I suppose he's handsome in his advanced years. He may be 50 or maybe a decade younger, perhaps a decade older. He has a stern jaw, a high widow's peak, and an aquiline nose that suggests the man is proud, might be a general or a commander or a senator. That's the aura that you're getting off this elegant copper piece. Elegant but old and tarnished.
I can't quite remember, but I do think you should probably hold on to it.
Regardless of whose coin it is, does anyone know where we are? Aren't there meant to be farmland or anything out here?
We've been traveling for some 8 hours. I think we should have at least reached the crossroads by now, shouldn't we?
That is what I'm thinking too.
It's just been one strip of road.
There's no way none of us have noticed we've gone around in a circle. Without turns, and frankly, very little bend in the road.
Hmm.
But if the
Listen,
fog is
while we're
magical, could we just be going straight?
While we're stopped, someone said they saw a light earlier. Yes.
I did, yes. It's out there.
It's still there. It's
The hell?
glowing like a distant bonfire.
Tell me you can
Well-
see it. It might be a campsite or something. Maybe someone is there who can tell us exactly what's going on.
Is it off road or on the road?
Well, you can't see the road at that point. Just a glow in the distance.
Olenwe is a priest. This might be a sign, perhaps.
Like a holy calling.
Should we at least check it out?
We have nowhere else to go.
I feel it in our best interests at the moment. Yeah.
I'm gonna kind of squint my eyes and look in a direction. Can I see anything?
Make a perception check. Look, make an insight check as well. Insight.
Yeah, it just froze up for a
Perfect.
second there.
Perfect. It's good too. You don't see anything. You're looking with everything you've got. You're perceiving, as it were. You know, you're using your third eye, your astral sight. There's nothing out there that you can sense. And then it hits you. There's nothing out there that you can sense. You've had some level of communication with some other entity, some denizen who you've never understood. Perhaps you've questioned, perhaps you haven't. You don't feel that connection immediately. You haven't felt it for days.
So Sven's kind of squinting out this way, thinking, they've mentioned maybe it has something to do with her being a priestess. I mean, I'm not a holy man or anything, but I've got that bloodline, so maybe I'll be able to see anything. And then he comes to this realization and just kind of stands up straight all of a sudden, really stiff. Ellen, lass,
Do you see it, Sven? Do you?
can you feel the moon right now?
Close my eyes real tight and kind of just reach out for that presence of that duality.
Roll a D100.
Uh-oh.
Looks like I got no cleric. No jokes.
When you reach out, do you offer some sort of prayer or offering, or
Yeah.
are you just searching?
It's a silent prayer that kind of takes place in my mind rather than like spoken.
All right. Well, what do you say in the silence? What are you trying to communicate?
Sort of like a call and response, particularly to that to the lunar aspect of the religion.
I am here.
Sven, you'd noticed like Ellen's shoulders like immediately relax. I called out and she answered.
Maybe I'm just overthinking things. No, I don't see a light, but there's something odd about all of this.
Might as well check it out at least.
Is there any tall trees on the side, just on the side of the road where we're walking?
So tall that you can't see the tops of them.
I could try climbing this tree to see if I could get over this fog.
I doubt that would do any good.
If we need,
Yeah.
if you see something close, I can clear some of the fog. Not much, but
Well, where there's light, there's usually people.
Maybe if we get closer to it, you'll see it as we approach.
Maybe.
Does someone want to keep an eye on the cart? Or
What are you leaving?
is someone going to check out the light?
No, most well will go. What, we're not setting up camp or anything, right?
Not yet.
Well, admittedly, we haven't seen or heard from anything in hours. I suppose the car can do fine.
As long as it's not too like off the road or anything, right?
The darkness is now significantly darker than it was only a few moments ago, a few minutes ago. The twilight does not seem to be lasting very long tonight. And with the fall of night comes the sound of crickets, and also the sound of frogs. And then you hear the call of night birds as well.
Duvich sort of gets scared of just being in the dark and he can't see anything, so he pulls out this strange like globe contrapt, like a clear globe, and double taps it, and then it's basically he's just casting light and pulls out a globe of light.
Okay, Google light.
It is a magical light, and it penetrates through the mist and seems to drive it away, seems to force it to recede. And you can see all around you. You can see that there are moths that are coming towards your lantern. You can see that there are owls that are already perched up on the branches, looking down at you accusingly. And you can't see what rattled that bush over there, but it must have seen you because it's jumped into a small bush and is now hiding from you.
Plenty of night creatures all of a sudden.
Plenty of noise all of a sudden.
Why is it noisy now? But it was dead quiet.
Not a second ago. It is a good question.
Got dark awful quick, didn't it?
A little too quickly for my liking.
Maybe should go ahead and see if there's people at that fire, you see.
Yeah, how much closer have we gotten to this light that I had seen, DM?
It's so difficult to tell.
Mm.
The road has finally seemed to begin winding, but many of the winds seem unnecessary, as if the whoever set this road was reluctant to carve their way through trees rather than purposely avoiding some sort of obstacle like a creek or a mountainside. It doesn't switch back and wind like a serpent, but it does get a certain curve and an S bend in it that has up until now been very, very muted, very subtle.
Sure.
And then you hear it. You hear it collectively. It sounds like it could be a violin or a tambourine or maybe a drum.
Is that music?
Sounds like it to me.
Is it coming from is it kind of encompassing us? Is it coming from a specific direction?
It's coming from the light.
Be
Did the rest of us see
careful.
the light yet?
No.
Be careful. Remember the last time we heard music in the woods?
Indeed. Does Anton recognize it?
Sure, that's a good question. Make a history check with advantage.
Could I possibly roll instrumental proficiency?
Absolutely.
With what stat?
Intelligence. All right, lucky with that
Fuck.
advantage. No, so you can have advantage on this. That's fine.
Okay.
It is traditional music of. I use the term, and I mean no derogatory reference by it, but gypsies. It is the kind of the music of carnivals and of caravans and of women with pretty dresses and dashing swashbucklers traveling through the countryside.
What's the? Is there an equivalent in the world?
Gypsy.
Is that just what we call them too?
The
Ah,
Romanians.
yeah, right. Yeah, Romans. Like, I don't know what you're. Yeah, sure. But in your world, maybe I don't know, like river people. No, I haven't really. You can make one up if you like, but you recognise the travelling carnival music. Yeah, associated with people who don't own land but would rather enjoy their time adjusting to the season, going entertaining people and moving on again.
Sounds like a gimpy circus.
Could be.
Is that the time we impede now?
Yes, gimpy.
Okay.
That's a place.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with this gimpy circus.
I was raised by gimpies.
We'll hear it, right?
Yeah,
But only one of us sees the light.
for the moment, yeah.
Maybe they are welcoming. I still don't see where they are, though.
I'm pretty sure that light would be a camp for these people who are making this music. I think we should go and check it out.
Aye.
So as you approach a bit closer, the light becomes apparent to you all. The glow of a bonfire, and by now you can hear the clapping and the cheering and the dancing and the braying of donkeys and the clucking of chickens and the barking of dogs. And you see through the great lumbering trees, through the mist, which is a little lighter now than it has been previously, and perhaps a little colder as well. The chill of night seems to be have a little bit of bite tonight. But you see a camp. There's a dozen men and maybe just as many women gathered around a crackling bonfire. A few children as well, listening in. The folks seem to be in good spirits. They seem to be enjoying festivities. But they don't seem to be celebrating anything other than perhaps life itself. There is a beautiful girl who is dancing, and her skirts fly while old men play obscure instruments like accordions and violas and castanettas as she dances. A few people singing, a few people dancing, a few people just drinking, flasks and wineskins. And their barrel-topped wagons, which are quite short but broad, are beautifully painted and parked at really weird angles. Some of them are yellow and some red, some yellow and red with spots or stripes or stars. But there's no tent. No bears, nor lions, nor elephants that you might associate with a circus, just horses and mules and dogs and chickens, ducks. And these people are all gathered around the fire, apparently enjoying each other's company.
With his sword sheathed, Anton's just gonna kind of standing upright and just very clearly announcing himself, walk up to them waving.
We're still a couple of 100 feet away at the point. So you see Anton moving towards the group. What's the rest of the party do?
I follow Anton.
French.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
hang back.
Yeah, I'll
I don't
link back as well.
I don't
Okay.
like it.
Me as well.
And tie my hair up as I do, as I follow him.
Excellent. And so you head
At
out there,
about 50 feet, he's going to call out, "Hello there."
and well, the music doesn't stop instantly, but it sort of stops. One person stops playing, and another, and another, and another, and it seems the woman keeps dancing for a few moments after the music's all stopped, and she has to look around to try to work out what's going on. Old women gather up the children and begin hushing them away, putting them into little vardos, which is their little wagons. And dogs start barking ballistically. Men pluck their chests forward while they stand up, and they don't draw their weapons, but they brandish them as well as they can without actually touching the handles.
Anton's gonna like hold his hands up to show that he's very clearly not holding anything and say, "Terribly sorry to interrupt. It's just we've come from the main road back that a ways, and we're terribly lost. We were just wondering if we could perhaps ask for some directions."
Travelers look at each other, the caravan. The kids have been shoved away, but you see them peering outside the vardos, looking out through windows or open tops of the wagon. The dogs are being scolded and demanding to shut up, and they do so almost immediately. The donkeys and the horses are a little bit less easy to maintain, but they're a bit rattled. But these strangers look at each other, olive-skinned and dark-haired, handsome folk. And then an old man speaks. He has a wispy white beard and big, broad brass earrings hanging out of each of his ears. He may not be as old as Sven, but then again, he might be. Why don't you come and share the fire? Sit around and we can talk about your story and ours.
We have been traveling for quite some time. What do you think? And he turns back to the rest of the guys.
Elenway nods, but her gaze doesn't leave the man who spoke. She just nods quickly.
Sven's kind of giving them the up and down, up and down. These don't look like people that we would expect to find within a day's journey of Slumberhaven, do they?
The short answer is no, but so yeah, they could be Southerners, or Westerners, but they would have had to have travelled a long way. That said, these people, they look like they're well equipped for long travel. So short answer no, but longer answer maybe.
They're tourists.
Yeah, a whole family of nomadic tourists. There are still nomadic people out there.
Did we head north or south from Slumberhaven out the gates?
You should be going vaguely north. Yeah, you'll go northwest up towards Vailnorn, or northeast up towards the castle when you hit the split.
So if they were if they were Southerners, they would have passed by Slumberhaven, and it's odd that we haven't heard anything about them.
It would be difficult to take these wagons through such thick pine forest.
I take a step forward and ask the man who spoke, Where do you hail from? Where are you from? Is this your family?"
Come and sit by the fire. This is my family. Come and meet my family. Please, please. We like to have visitors. You can sit around and enjoy, have drink and have dancing. you play music?
Ooh, I do.
I don't know.
And Anton sort of just without even thinking about it, like swings his backpack off and pulls out his fiddle.
Yeah, cheer, here, play us a happy song.
And so Anton starts up with his best gimpy, the best gimpy song he knows.
All right, so make a performance check and tell us the name of this gimpy happy song. Beautiful.
Okay, I need to think of something witty. Give me a minute.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Dugovich should probably be standing behind Mendatus, kind of just not really not trusting the people. He doesn't trust people.
Vorag
All
may
right.
as well just sit down at the campfire. He's not one to refuse generosity, especially when we haven't set up camp at night time yet.
They hand you some shawarmas. You've never eaten or seen a shawarma before, but it looks like it's made of lamb and some kind of paste, and maybe, I don't know, is that cream? You're not really sure. But the longer you hold it, the less weird it seems, and the more delicious it comes across as.
I'll like sprinkle some ground mushroom on mine.
I'm not eating.
I'll eat. My stomach grumbles loudly. The halfling's
Yeah.
daughter.
So after so you start eating your meal, and a short, quick, happy rendition of the halfling's daughter at the end of it. This old man says, "Oh, oh, it is lucky. You are halfling, or maybe you would steal away my daughter. She would fall in love with such a splendid minstrel." And the dancing girl just rolls her eyes, and as she does, her like these discs around her bangles, they jitter and jingle, and she rolls her eyes and rubs her hand through her hair, and says something to her papa in her own language, which causes people to laugh. Private chat.
Anton laughs too.
She scolds you when you laugh, and then turns on her heels and strives off into a distant part of the camp towards one of the corridors. So, those of you who have joined the camp begin dining on chicken and lamb and pork and different spices and vegetables,
I share
all
my
roasted
ale
over
with them.
open fire. Oh, they share wine with you, and as you share ale and they share wine, you seem to be drinking quite a lot. They have endless amounts of Meeklebrow, which is a thick, heady, kind of red wine that stains the lips and the beard and the teeth. And as long as you want to keep partying, they're going to keep pouring you drinks.
Beard's already red, may as well.
Sven will have a comfortable amount of drinks, but he's not going to get drunk around these strangers. Like as long as he's still sober enough just to stab his spear and swing a sword, he'll keep drinking, but not beyond that.
Yeah, no worries.
I'd probably want to do that too, but I'll get carried away and keep drinking.
The women start dancing again, and when they do, you have to drink to that.
Yeah, Anton's a halfling, so he's not gonna get like shit faced, but he's also not gonna like refuse a drink and be impolite. So he's probably gonna end up getting shit faced.
When the kids are brought back out there, they try to play with you, kind of like you're a novelty or a toy. And the dog barks, gets in trouble, gets in trouble. You never get over the feeling that the dogs are going to eat you. They just look at you, and you're just so, I could go straight for the neck, and I'd run over there, and no one would find me. Anyway,
He'll kind of skirt away from them.
leave him alone. So you enjoy the hospitality, the festivities of this campfire, and inevitably, this gentleman, this old man with the wispy beard, whose name is Stanimir. Stanimir asks you through his wrinkled mouth with missing teeth, "What is your story? What brings you out here into the wildland?"
We've come back from Slumberhaven. You're familiar with it, yes?
He looks around the camp. "Tell me about Slumberhaven."
If you don't mind my asking, where are you from?
"We are travelers. We are Vistani. We wander where we want to wander, go where we wish to go, and our wagons will take us there."
Well, Slumberhaven. It's a coastal village, about 8 hours back that way. This fog set in. It's been that way for quite some time, unnaturally. How long have you been in it?
He sighs, and the music switches to a sad requiem, a dirge, a song of death and dying. But the transition is quite subtle. And Stanimir fills his mouth with this meekle brow, and as he takes a big gulp, you see it go past his old wrinkled Adam's apple, and it leaves his lips stained and his teeth filled with red lines. He spits into the fire like red globules of phlegm after coughing them up. And as he does, the flames, they turn from orange to green, and then they dance and they sway, and a dark shape appears in the middle of this bonfire, right at the core, which has been within a Lenway's sight for so long now.
Augustine prepares his bow.
Some of the men
Yeah,
grab
Ancon
their
stumbles back.
yeah. And some of the men grab their blades in response, but their women hold their men, and while the tension rises, no one shows steel. We came from an ancient land whose name is long forgotten, the land of kings. We have many enemies, people who do us wrong. We travel the world as we wish, and there are people who say you cannot go there, you cannot take this, but everything under sun and moon belongs to everyone. You cannot keep everything for yourself, and you cannot own the land. It is the land that owns you. You are born on it, and your bones will be buried in it. You cannot own land. There are many people who did not realize this, and they would punish us. Trespass, they called it. Well, these enemies, they forced us from any land that we might claim, any land that we might say, oh, this piece is mine now. And so we wander lost roads through misty valleys and forests. And as he's doing this, within the fire, the green, orange flames, you see a man. He is a tall, broad-shouldered man. He has a strong jaw, handsome for his age. A widow's peak that reaches down towards his eye, his dominant nose, aquiline. And the Vistani man continues. One night, a wounded soldier staggered into our camp and collapsed. We nurse his terrible injury. We quench his thirst. We bring wine. We bring land. He survived. When we ask, who are you, man? He will not say. All he wants is to return home. But we are deep in land of his enemies. Well, he was in our charge now. What would we do? We could not turn him away. He would die. But he was not one of us. We took him as our own nonetheless, and we followed him back towards his own home. His enemies were hunting us. We knew then he must be a prince. He did not give up. And when the assassins fell upon us like wolves, he fought with the fury of a man I had not seen before or since. And you see the dark figure is standing with his sword drawn, and he's fighting off a whole host of intruders as they fall upon the Vardos, and the women and the children are screaming, the dogs are barking, the men are fighting valiantly, but this warrior, this broad-shouldered, stern-jawed warrior, he knocks them forward, he has command of his field. This man of royal blood, he fought to protect us as we protect him. And we bore him safely to his home, and he thanked us. He said, I owe you my life. Stay as long as you wish. Leave whenever you choose. You may come and you may go. And you must know, you will always be safe here in my home. And you see within the fire, the figure, it vanquishes its final foe, drives its sword deep into the heart, rips it out. And as the figure leans towards the corpse, it all vanishes in flame, smoke, and embers. And the old man's face is like a mask of stone. But now, he has fallen under a curse. The noble prince is a merciless tyrant now. But we are fortunate, for he honors the old pact, and we may come and we may go as we choose. And that is how we come to your land.
So does that mean we're in his land now?
You've never heard of him.
Yes, we're on our way to see the princess. I wasn't aware there were any noblemen between here and there.
There shouldn't be.
What's the name of this lord?
I am not sure that I am the one who can give you these answers. I feel I have already spoken too much. Oh, Father, do not be like that, says the girl who was originally dancing. You must tell them more. You must share with them all that you know. What do I know, child? All I know is that you should seek out Madame Eva. She will tell you the answers that you need to know. Madam Eva, they can get the answers from us. They can get the answers from me. And the men seem to laugh. The women are mixed between being a little bit embarrassed for her and chuckling alongside with their men or trying to offer some support, but the old man ignores his daughter and he turns back to the group. You should seek out Madam Eva. She will be able to tell you everything you need to know.
Why can't you?
There is no reason why not. I have the power, and I will tell you your fortune if you wish.
Anton
Eva,
kind
we
of
just
blinks at the change of subject.
Who,
I suppose?
who is Madam Ava? Who is this madam that you speak of?
She looks at the old man and he just, it's your show now, just waves towards her. And she says, Madam Eva is the eldest seer among the Vistani. She knows everything there is to know.
So, if you could just point us to the way of the castle, we could be on our way and not have to deal with any of.
He shrugs his shoulders. He's like, you wish to go to the castle? It is your choice. You just follow this road and it will lead you there soon enough.
Oh, Augustine, don't need to be so hasty. It's already night time. Might as well set up camp somewhere. Here is better as anywhere.
I do not like these people.
They've
Dog
shown
growls
joy.
behind your back.
I was whispering.
Yeah, it wasn't a person, it was a dog. A dog
okay.
can't understand your language.
They shown
Right.
It's coincidence.
Hey, what's the harm in talking to an old lady about a man whose lands we're apparently in?
I don't like old ladies either.
You'll be one soon enough.
What? The fuck?
You're beardless, right? You're a lady.
I will remember this.
Do-
Honest mistake.
Sven's watching over this, kind of thoughtfully stroking his beard, like, happy I've got this.
I love the idea of a dwarf not being able to tell the difference between like human genders because they don't have a beard. That is the only way he can distinguish genders. That's the only way you can do it with dwarves.
They're all hewn from the same rock.
What's the Terry Pratchett joke? Like they all wear 12 layers of clothing. Gender's more or less optional.
I will. I'm not one to choose for the group. But I wouldn't mind staying. For the night, at least.
They've been hospitable enough. But, I mean, I guess if it makes you, that uncomfortable, like, we can set up camp elsewhere. It's fine.
I will not drag the rest of you with me.
Well, you can't
If
go,
the
you
rest
can't
of
go
you
alone.
wish to stay.
Strength in numbers. Could to answer one question without us having to go to this madam,
Do you ask the old man or the girl?
the girl. She's more
I could
responsive.
tell you everything if you had time to spare. Yes, I will answer your question.
Where exactly are we?
You are on the side of the road, at the edge of the forest,
The
the camp
edge of the
of the
forest.
Vistani.
Which forest?
That is a good question. And which road? I honestly do not know. But
You just
Anton
said you
just
had
looks
all the
very
answers.
confused and says, "Where are we?"
if you follow this road, it will lead you to the castle. If you want to go to the castle, if you follow this road, you will find Madame Eva. If you want to find Madame Eva, I have already said that I have the power to, and she seems to be saying that to the Vistani, not to you. And you know, this time they don't laugh quite so hard, but you know, yeah, all right. A couple of them just drink, a couple of them just eat their chicken. Oh, she gets
Could I?
so annoyed.
Can I? Would I be able to do an insight check to determine like is she like is she like too almost like too confident? Like she's kind of like maybe throwing in like a lie or an exaggeration to buy us over.
Oh, good question. Do you have training in Arcana?
Not Arcana, no.
All right, then make an insight check. She seems to be someone who feels that she is underrated.
Mm. Well, it sounds like there's a lot you can teach us, child. So if we're to stay here, that would be fantastic. And then I mean, if after this there's nothing stopping us from visiting Madame Eva, regardless.
How far away is she?
Who I cannot tell. She travels in her Vardo where she will, where she want. The same as we.
I see. Then yeah, so I suppose we should set up camp. But then it is getting dark rather rapidly.
And the girl approaches Linway and so that it's only the pair of them quietly speaking. And she says, "Are you sure you would trust me to tell you your fate?"
Well, when you put it
This
like
is
that.
just to a Linway.
Oh, never mind.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, why? Sure, why not?
Oh,
I'm curious to your ways and what you have to say, so I'll hear it.
will do you want me to read the fate for you or for your whole congregation as one person? You know what I mean? One identity.
Yes, I think that do it as if we were one.
Yes.
Hmm.
The fate, the fortune of your. Oh, I'm so glad that you are staying now. I have a chance to. I have never done this for anyone before, except myself. But I know the cards. I can read them.
It's okay, child. You can relax. You have nothing to prove to me. This is completely out of my depth as well.
You trust me.
Speak freely.
Very good. We will wait until the hour of the wolf, and then I shall read your fortune, all of you.
Okay.
And thus the wine is poured and the lamb is passed, and there some bosoms and legs are shown. But does anyone make any advances towards the men or women that are gathered here?
I make advances to the food and beer.
Yeah, the food is delicious. Beer never ends.
I guess once the girl does any sort of like reading, I'm gonna like keep an eye on her and like watch what she's doing, seeing if it's actually magic or if she's just doing a sleight of hand trick.
Uh-huh. Alright. You party the night away, but no one gets laid. The Vistani get laid. They fuck like animals. Men take their women into the bardos, and as if to show you up, as if to prove themselves to you travelers, or just perhaps because they like it. They are very audible and visible in their lovemaking. And after that post-party episode happens, it comes into the hour of the wolf. And you hear them howl, howling in the distance, being answered on left and on right, in front and behind, an ever-growing chorus of wolves. While great flocks of bats fly overhead, hundreds, maybe as many as 1,000, one for every citizen within Slumberhaven, 1,000 bats. The door to the Vardo is opened, and how many people are intending to witness the reading? Everyone, or just a small group?
Sven will wait outside.
Real
He's
quick,
not interested
can-
in having his fortune read.
Can you
Uh-huh.
can you spell the name of these people in chat?
Yep.
Sorry. And Anton will get his fortune read.
Uh-huh.
Might as well come in. Food in one hand, beer in the other.
Yeah, come in too. Fucking nice.
So she's only got this little, combi-sized wagon, right? A little Vardo. And when she looks at all the people gathered, she has these beautiful cards in her hands. She realizes that you're not all going to even come close to fitting. So she comes out instead, and the reading is done just outside of the range of the fire, so that the last few drunkards don't disturb us. They leer, and they're about to make a joke, but Esmeralda gives them the evil eye. She gives them the most harsh glare, and they just shut up, and they go to bed. And you hear their wives call out to them and demand that they stop drinking. You're left all alone, save for the old man who's snoozing, passed out on a bread roll with a dog for a blanket, who's also passed out. Just at the edge of the fire, Esmeralda produces a deck of cards, beautiful, ornate, and thick and heavy, each of them unmarked from a dark leather pack. This is the Taroka, she explains. The Taroka deck is the deck of fate. It will tell you what you need to know. But first, I need to know you, and the deck needs to know you. Why have you come here? To this land?
We're seeking to get to our princess.
You do realize you are not in your home anymore. You have walked down paths that have been swallowed by the mist, and the mist has taken you into a strange place you will find unfamiliar.
Are you saying we've been transported somewhere?
Yes, as Evardo transports a family, so too has the road transported you.
So where is here?
Here is the edge of the mist. There is a village down the road. I do not know how far, but it is a small village overlooked by a castle. Perhaps you will find what you seek there. I do not know, but the cards know. The cards can tell you.
Okay. Proceed then, I suppose.
All right. We will.
So, Lee, can you do push to talk?
All right. And well, if you are ready, perhaps we can begin. She draws forward the ornate cards with their dark backs, and as she begins flipping them over, you see their ornate decorations. And as for whether it is magical or not, you'll never truly know. But there is a change in the atmosphere. A tension grows as she begins to tell you your fortune. She flips over a card. This card tells of history. Knowledge of the ancient will help you better understand your enemy. She looks at the card and it interprets it. She studies it, and you can see her struggling, and she's trying to remember things. The two of the two of scepters. This is the missionary. Yes, yes, yes. I see a garden dusted with snow, watched over by a scarecrow with a sackcloth grin. And her eyes are closed and she's concentrating. Look not to the garden, but to the guardian. She looks at you all for approval, recognition, understanding.
I nod.
Good, good, good. This card, she stammers, touching the top one. This card tells of a powerful force for good and protection. A holy symbol of great hope. And trembling, she flips the card. The two the two of stars, the two of stars, the diviner, the diviner. She concentrates and closes her eyes. Look to the one who sees all. The treasure is hidden within her camp.
I can get behind hidden treasure.
Leans towards the third card. This is a card of power, of strength. It tells of a weapon of vengeance, a sword of sunlight. The two The two of coins. The philanthropist. This time she doesn't need to close her eyes. Look to a place where sickness and madness are bred, she says as she stares at the card itself. Where children once cried and the treasures lie still. Well, when no one speaks, she nods and touches the bottom card. This card sheds light on one who will help you greatly in battle against darkness. It is the innocent, but she is inverted, upside down. Evil's bride is the one you seek. Trembling, she reaches to the final card. This time she closes her eyes even before she touches it. Your enemy is a creature of darkness whose powers are beyond their mortality. This card will lead you to him. I see a secret place, the tempter, a vault of temptation, hidden behind a woman of great beauty. The evil waits atop his tower of treasure. And the wind blows. The wind blows so strong, the first wind you've felt in days, so strong that it scatters the cards.
Well, that's all well and good, but an enemy? We're just here to see the princess.
Unless anyone has any, shall we say, nemesis. Hmm? But then, why would they be here? I don't understand.
And treasure.
Perhaps I did it wrong.
I'm an art teacher.
Yes, you are, Anton, and a very good one at that.
Just as an aside, Arctic, does the mention of the Sword of Sunlight ring any bells?
Yeah, even without a history check or anything, the Archangel was armed with a sword of pure sunlight. Back in the war at the dawn of time that won humanity their freedom.
You say that if we follow along this path, we'll find the castle. But these lands don't look like the princess's lands. Is it the same castle as the princess's?
She smiles at first, then frowns weakly, and then slowly nods. And then shakes her head.
Listen, I don't think we're on the world anymore. I I I think this mist, I don't think it's natural. I think it's taken us somewhere else.
And you are not Vistani, so it will not let you go. I am sorry.
So how do we get out?
do we get home?
Christ, is the entire town in here now?
I don't know. The cards. I thought they would help, but
It's the nature of fate telling to be
no,
confusion.
Listen,
no, my people, they were right. You should
Listen.
seek out Madame Heaver. I was a fool to attempt to.
I pluck one of the flowers from like out of my hair, which hurts because it's like you're pulling out strands of hair,
Uh-huh.
and I offer it to her, and I say, "Thank you. This has been very insightful."
If your flowers, they are real in
Mhm.
your hair?
Yes,
Are you an elf?
not quite. No.
Oh, I have never met an elf before.
Well, now you have.
She says she is not an elf.
I am.
You are an elf?
I like bring my hair back and show my ears, and
These are elf ears?
as elf an ear can get.
Oh, we can see the whites of your eyes and your smile in the darkness.
Where is your magic tree? Does it cause you pain to be outside of your magic tree?
My magic tree?
The magic tree that you're tied to, your soul tree, from where you were born.
I wasn't born from any soul tree.
You were born from a bush?
Nor bush. Mate, I guess.
Don't elaborate on that one.
You are all monsters, but you are also friendly.
Actually, I'm human.
You are very handsome. What is your name?
Name's Dugovich. And I guess he'll extend a hand to shake it.
She shakes it strongly, yeah, and seems to get some of her confidence back. Stands up straight and tall. I am Esmeralda, and it is good to meet you, Dukovich.
It's nice to meet you too. It's, I haven't seen anything divination magic like that before.
You are a diviner? Like
N-
in the cards.
Not no, not quite. I specialize in other forms of I guess in a way it's magic. And I guess I'll pull out the box I prepared earlier, and I'll press the button, and after 5 seconds, a little voice comes out from it. Over here.
Oh, it's like music box, like Blinky.
Yes, I suppose I could make a music
Like
box.
make a music box, like Blinsky, you know. Blinsky, make music box, make toys. It's good as Blinsky, you know. You don't. Oh, you don't know.
No, I'm sorry. Who is Blinsky?
Blinsky, he make toys in Valaki. Uh, a village. Uh,
Do you have a map of this world, this area?
she shakes. She shakes her head, and then yes, I have. And she lays out the cards again. There is your map.
Well,
insight.
Yeah, go ahead. This woman believes, you know, this woman believes, or everything that you need is written right here.
Right. Yeah. Djukovic is a bit more, not suspicious, but dubious about the fact that that's all they need is a man of science.
Yeah,
He's
fair call.
right. I thought she actually had a map. He's kind of
Do you-
disheartened by that.
But you don't scoff?
No, but I'm visibly like, I was like, it's like she got my hopes up when she said yes, and then she put out the cards, and I kind of like visually deflated a little bit.
And your deflation saps her confidence as well.
I suppose it would be hard to map a place like this with the fog.
Yes, perhaps you do understand, after all.
How far down the road is this village that you spoke of? You said there was a castle that overlooked a village.
Yes, and I cannot tell you. I am not good with mathematics. It is down the road, and that is enough to know.
Maybe we'll find more answers there. Someone that could, yeah, or the castle, whichever comes first. If we're not on the world, then we need to ask around.
Well, either set up camp here for the night or do it during the night.
Quick out of character question: did we bring the cart with us up here, or did we leave it back on the road?
I would assume we brought it with us.
Yeah,
No one was guarding it. We'd bring it.
yeah.
Okay, I just wasn't sure if like the way we went from the road to the camp allowed for us to take the cart.
Oh yeah. The camp's on the side of the road. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
if they can get their big carts off the road, I think we can get our small cart.
Yeah, good way of looking at it.
All right. Word. All right, never mind then. We're good.
Excellent. That's a good question. All right. So, you're camping here for the night?
If they'll
Sure.
allow us.
Cool. They would welcome it. The fog grows thicker during the night. Shortly after the Taroka card reading, the fog becomes, well, perhaps worse than you've ever seen it. It's impenetrable. And most of you don't even realize you're just slumbering away quite peacefully. You may have set watches, or you might have relied on the elf to protect you. The elf never sleep. It doesn't matter, because in any case, in the morning, well, in the morning you wake up, but before we get there, the elf never fell asleep because elves don't sleep. And so you experienced something different to what everyone else did. During your meditations, you became aware of the thickness of the fog, and it reached a point where you could not see your hand in front of you. Did that bother you?
A little bit. I would have crept closer to someone.
Yeah, you creep closer to them. You find them. Initially, you can't tell who they are, but it appears to be the dwarf.
My beard scratches you.
Yeah. He smells pretty bad, too.
You take 1d4 damage from the beard scratch.
And you annoy his body odor. Yeah, so you find him. Like, does that calm you down and you go back to your meditations?
A little bit, yeah. He keeps me. We've been through a bit together, so he keeps me calm.
the Vistani are active during the night. You know, they get up and take a piss. They wake up and make love to their wives. They kick the dog, or the baby wakes up and needs breastfeeding. You know, all these things, these household issues occur, and because they are, of course, in their households. These are 20, 25, 30 people. So throughout the night, you know, you're disturbed a little bit by sounds, but you don't see anything. The fog is just too thick, penetrable. All right. So everyone roll a d10 except for the elf.
Alright. Oh, no double rolls. That's cool.
All right. Who's so
Missing
Anton
one.
is lowest.
Correct.
Cool. Excellent. All right. Anton, you wake up in the morning. How many coins did you have in your purse?
53.
Were they all gold coins?
Yes.
All right. Let me see something.
Dick.
Must be there. Yeah, there it is. Okay.
They're all
Roll D100. So you said 56, correct?
53.
53. You did have 53 coins. You now have 52 coins and a porcelain doll's head. And although its eyes are painted, you know, just little black dots on marble, no matter which way you point the doll's head, their eyes always follow you.
All right, that's much better result than I was expecting.
Who got the next highest? Ellenway?
lowest.
Yeah, next lowest. Yeah, Ellenway.
I also got a 6.
4. Ellenway got a 4.
Ah, you going from low.
Yeah. Do you have do you have like a water skin or a wine skin, or do you have both?
I actually don't have either. I
You
don't
don't have
think,
either.
unless
You don't.
it's.
You must be awfully thirsty.
Uh,
You are taking a level of exhaustion damage because you haven't drank water. No, because you were getting fed. You don't have a water skin.
sorry, I do. It's part of the priest pack.
Ah, it is part of the priest.
Yeah.
Wow. It's funny you should say that because you actually don't have a water skin.
Okay.
Yeah, you were right the first time.
Yeah.
You should have
Okay.
stuck with that.
Classic.
Roll percentile.
Sure.
Oh,
Oh, sorry.
shit.
No, that's
Oh,
1d double zero.
Oh,
That's my
oh.
I was gonna say. Everyone's just like, whoa.
Wonder 100.
Well,
That's
that was
pretty...
enough.
So like you open up your priest pack and you're thirsty in the morning and you reach down for your bottle of water and it's gone. But your bag smells really good. It smells, well, I mean, kind of. The lilies have a nice smell. You have a bouquet of funerary lilies inside your bag, and they'll always remain fresh.
Oh man, I like forget the water skin. I like begin like putting them and tying them into my hair and shit like that, like and just making it look real sick.
They mold in perfectly and
Oh,
and
awesome.
they remain vibrant and colourful.
Does anyone have any water?
Alright, Dukovic, roll percentile, please. Do you have any rope?
I believe so.
Your
50
belief
foot
is
net.
incorrect. You will find that your belief is misplaced and is quite false. You don't actually have any rope, but you don't remember packing. Like your bag is noticeably lighter with the rope gone. But you don't remember packing an inkwell. Do you like? This
Thought I
inkwell?
left it at home.
Right. Hang on. Is this As you study the inkwell, as you try to determine if it's yours or not, just looking at you makes you a little bit sick.
Okay. I close it back up. I'm like, oh.
Augustin, have you?
Me or Sven?
Well, we'll start with Augustin since you're higher up in the order.
Okay.
Yeah. Now roll percentile. Do you have
No,
a hat?
I do not.
Do you have a belt?
I suppose I would.
You used to have a belt. Someone has. Did you take your belt off last night, or were you wearing it when you went to sleep?
Fuck.
Can you remember?
I can't.
You can't remember. Well, that's unfortunate. Roll percentile. There we go. Because as you get up in the morning, your pants fall down, right? And you look around, and while you're searching for a belt, you notice that you weren't sleeping on a pillow last night. You were sleeping on some clothes that are filled with straw. Some old scarecrow rags.
Is there a belt in them?
Shit, check the prophecy.
There is a belt within these rags.
I'll use that belt then.
It is a rag belt. All right. Yeah, but it's. I thought about the prophecy as well. All right. Roll percentile for us, please. Old Sven. Sven, have you got a hat?
No.
Cloak?
Probably an old tattered one.
Where's
Like,
it gone? Did you leave it at home? No, you brought it with you. You're sure you brought it. But maybe a dog took it during the night. In any case, it's not here. And yet, while you were opening your bag, you're searching, because maybe it is in there after all. Something rattles, something jingles. But, it's silverware. It's a set of silverware. And there's, the name, King Azun IV. You've never heard of this king before.
Yeah, Sven's probably just gonna discard it. Like,
It's not yours.
don't know who put this in here, chucks it over his shoulder.
And clang, clang, clang. Does anyone collect the silverware?
Augustin will.
Alright, you gather it up before the Vestani can. They would have. And I think that only leads Vorig Stonehide.
Yeah.
Percentile, please.
Sorry, just adding King's old silverware.
Ah, excellent.
1d1 hundo.
That's it.
37.
Alright, I've got good news. I'm sorry. I've got good news and I've got bad news. Do you want the good news or the bad news first?
Oh, just chuck it all at me.
Well, the good news is a hangman's noose. Somehow feels heavier than it should, as if it bears the weight of, well, all of its done. And the bad news, you used to own a purse that had coins in it, but you don't anymore.
All my coins?
All your coins, your entire purse.
Sorry, I only had 10.
You're surprisingly circumspect. I suppose you look at a hangman's noose and you're like, well, can't really be materialistic when, you know, I've got this hanging here.
Find a use for this later.
That's right.
It's a surprise tool that will come in handy later.
Matt's new goal is gonna be to get you to employ that.
It's gonna come sooner or later. I'm sure. I reckon you'll find a candidate. All right.
A big question. Dooku is
Yeah.
just kind of intrigued by the oil at the inkwell. I'll dip my finger in the ink, just the tip of my finger, and then without looking at the inkwell, I'll just stare at the ink on my finger. Does that make me nauseous?
A little bit, yeah. It's
A little
more
bit?
intense when it's distorted through the glass.
Okay. I'll put that away.
It looks like usable ink, quality ink, in fact.
Oh, nice.
Those thieves took my fucking water skin.
They took my belt.
I think
Wait.
the stall head's watching me.
Oh, that's
Do
creepy.
you want? Do you
Some
want me to make you
bastard
a new
put
belt?
some knives and forks in my bag. I don't know why.
I think I dropped my purse when I was drunk. Do you happen to see it, Min?
No, I'd make sure I've got everything, and it was a bit like foggier last night, more than usual. Like I could barely see my hands. But other than
I
that,
don't think I'm missing anything.
Anton, do you want me to make you another belt?
I have a belt.
That was me.
No,
Oh, Augustine, sorry.
No, I found this belt on these. I guess they gave me more clothes. Has straw on it. It is weird.
Right. Okay. Well, they did take my rope, but I mean, they gave me this inkwell, and I'll hold it up, and everyone who looks at it feels nauseous.
Oh,
Only a little.
it's not very nice.
It isn't. It is very curious.
Strange folk, weren't they?
Are they gone?
They are still here, and the fog is beginning to lift. But they're engaging in their own business now, feeding their children and their dogs. And you probably camped off a little bit to one side anyway. It would have been kind of polite to park your tent next to a guy that's fucking his girlfriend. It's not really kosher in most cultures. So yeah, you're a bit of a distance away, and you've got your own separate little camp. The big bonfires pretty much died out now, and most people have just got little cook fires that they're cooking for their families rather than the whole crowd. And the road stretches on.
Should we make our way to the village? See if we can get there today?
I suppose. Anton will go to the head gypsy guy and thank him for his hospitality.
It was good to meet you, but forgive me. I have come down with poisoning in my overnight. Oh, I have rumbling. Oh, I'm rumbling right now. Oh, excuse me. Let's go. And he waddles off towards the river.
Right. Farewell.
Farewell and good luck, travelers.
Wait, towards the river?
No, not river. Sorry.
I was gonna say, dropping
Is it river?
hints without us knowing.
Little tiny, maybe a little tiny stream.
Alright. Well, might as well pack up.
All right.
The birds seem lively today.
They are. They are lively. There are voles and rabbits. There are squirrels and there are crows. There are crows and they're watching. The other animals are going about their morning affairs. But the handful of crows that you see, 5, 6, or 7, they seem to have a great deal of curiosity. As you roll on past them, when you begin packing up your wagon and heading down along the misty path that lies ahead.
Before we set out, it's still misty, isn't it?
Still misty. It's not as foggy as it has been. You probably see about 100 feet.
Okay. I'm gonna go up to a tree that's in like near our camp.
Squirrel runs up the trunk, kind of straight up to the top.
Anyone that's watching sees me like pull out this little ball, and the only way I can describe it is it's my magic 8-ball. And I cast guidance on myself, and I'm gonna climb the tree to see if I can get like a higher vantage point of the view.
Yeah, no worries. You picked a good tree, and there's plenty that are suitable for climbing. So, have you trained in athletics or acrobatics?
No, I'm not trained either.
All right, you make a check in one or the other then.
Acrobatics, and I'll add a d4.
All right, what's your class?
Artificer.
Yeah, of course, yeah. All right. How does your guidance come to you? Do you think? What's the process for that?
I think they go. What I was imagining is I have like a little. It's like a little, like a magic 8-ball. So it's a completely covered thing, and it has a little like a glass cover. And when I shake it, words appear, and I guess it would say, "Watch your footing."
Yeah, sure. Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
And as I climb up, I noticed that if I stepped where if I wasn't paying attention, I would have stepped in this little really broken branch. But it warned me, so.
You warned me, Lucky 8-Ball. Oh, you. You're my best friend.
Try again later.
That's it. All right, and so thanks to the guidance of your token, you're able to get quite high up. And as mentioned, the mist isn't as thick today, and you're able to see that you're in a thick and a deep forest. The road can be seen disappearing off in the distance, even though you can't see the road. You can see where there is a definite gap between the two trees, of 20, 30 feet. And so you can almost imagine the snake-like road winding off into the distance, but then the fog just becomes too much, and you can't see hills or farms or anything, just forest.
Okay. Just double check.
Yeah, but you do notice the road at least meandering its way like a lazy river.
Okay. Content with what I'd seen. I guess I'd kind of commit the direction of the road to memory, so I'd be like, just keep in mind that it's that way, general direction that way. And I'll climb back down and rejoin the group.
One more thing. This probably doesn't need to be mentioned particularly, but you don't see the sun, and you haven't seen the sun for a long time. And as you might expect, the sunlight is muted. As a result, there's a not twilight feel, but a lack of intensity. You don't feel the sun on your face. As I suppose it's no surprise, really. You get back down.
Yeah. Did I notice which way the sun come up the morning? Is it possible to notice it, or is it just kind of it gets light?
Great question. You cannot tell. Yeah. You can't position the sun. You can't tell what time of day it is. It's got no idea.
It's way too cloudy. Constantly cloudy.
Constantly.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Beautiful.
I suppose we should head out now.
Mm.
Unless the rest of you are wishing to climb the trees.
I don't climb trees.
I reckon the sooner we get to this town and figure out what's going on, the better.
Yeah, I need to buy another water skin, so maybe I can get one now. Yeah, I think we should move.
Well, I saw the road in that direction, so that's where we need to go.
All right. The path is set out before you, and you follow this road through this vaguely familiar forest towards a destination that you think is the castle. Crows, ravens, call them what you will. There's so many of them. They caw, caw, caw. You've spotted them throughout the journey, this morning that is, in twos and threes. But the murder has grown to be a swarm, a massacre. And their numbers increase visibly over the course of a 5 or 10 minute period, from twos or threes to fives and tens to 50, maybe 100. And then you see more. It's like you're walking into a cathedral of ravens. These huge, these tall trees, these pine trees, echoing with their caws, like some cacophony, some chorus that you'll be traveling straight through if you continue along this. There's that.
Are they following us?
It appears more like they're waiting, if you were to use such an analogy, because most of them are up ahead rather than behind. They're not catching up with you, you're walking toward them.
Pull my mace out and kind of like grab the
They
handle.
don't like that. No, they don't like that at all. Some of them take to their wings. Doesn't disturb most of them. Of the 50 or so that are within 300 feet, 10 or 20 take to wing, but they seem to, as soon as you go for your weapon, a couple of them are just, fuck this, we're out of here.
I just like lower it to my side and like keep looking around, but keep walking.
Some of them land on branches and caw at you again, or at each other perhaps. Party continues on, like the pumpkin looks towards the rest of the group for instruction.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pulls her wagon, pulls her cart. Go, go, gets louder. Go, go, so many of them. Ravens by the score. And then there's something else. It appears that they are gathered around corpses. Well, that's fitting, isn't it? Only they're gathered around corpses. They're not on the corpses. They're not ripping out their eyes or their tongues or devouring their faces. You see up ahead 3 humanoid corpses 300 feet away. At this distance, it's kind of difficult to tell their professions or even their genders, but it does seem that they were armed. And the crows, by the score, perhaps by the 100, making this cacophony of caws. And the road, 30 feet wide, pretty wide road. Dirt, cobblestones are disappearing.
Should leave the cart behind and go investigate?
I can make an illusion to scatter them if you want.
I do not know if that would work.
We can try.
Was that you, Djukovic? I had an idea.
Do you give
Anton.
Oh.
Or,
I thought
sorry,
Djukovic was trying to speak as well.
Yeah, that's right. I was gonna say
Yeah,
Djukovic
go
is
ahead.
probably getting a bit freaked out, and seeing how the light sort of pushed the mist and the darkness away the other night, he's just gonna cast that, bring out his orb again, and see if it affects and light it up, and see if it affects the anything, any of the
Yeah.
crows.
Curious. The mist behaves the same way as it did, receding, which is bizarre because this generates no heat, does it? It's just light. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's just a light. Yeah.
If it were heat as well, your scientific experiments would tell you that the mist should recede as the ambient temperature changes. This light has no temperature, and yet the mist clearly recedes from it. It's not pronounced, but it's observable. It's observable. The crows, on the other hand, do not seem fussed by your mechanics. Curious, inquisitive. They don't fly towards you or hop, but they look at you and watch you with their beady eyes. But none fly away nor fly closer. There's no panic or arousal as there was when a weapon was drawn.
Okay.
Curiosity, interest.
Anton's going to cast Minor Illusion near the corpses, and basically he's going to summon like a big cat, like a leopard or something like that, and have it like pounce at the ravens.
Yeah, it works. Yeah, they scatter. Go, 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 go. They sound angry. Go, go, go. As if they're cursing the cat for its actions. There's still
Well,
so
we
many
wanna
crows
check it
everywhere,
out.
right? There's so many crows everywhere. And they only land in branches 50, 70 feet away from where they originally took off. But they do at least part somewhat. The flood becomes a stream.
Can we check out those corpses then?
Yeah,
Get closer.
yeah. Step right up to it.
Alright.
Step up to the first one.
All right, there are three people: a dwarven male, a human female, and a human male. The male and female don't seem to be of the same ethnicity. She is tanned skin, whereas he has fair skin, and their heights are markedly different, as are their bodies. Yeah. So that's the first thing you notice. They are all heavily equipped, and they look like they're equipped to be professionals. The dwarf seems to be an explorer. He's got short swords and hand axes. Um, a whole bunch of gear that, if you choose to rifle through, I'll show you soon. The woman you take is a priestess. She has an ankh, a golden ankh, maybe real gold, and black eyeliner around her eyes. And her robes seem to be quite clean in spite of the wilderness environment. Finally, the male is huge human male, clearly a warrior, dressed in nothing but a loincloth and a horned helmet. All of them have either food or water or something.
Does one of them have a water skin?
They have some. The dwarf has empty water skin, empty wine skin. The priestess has water skin that's half full. So does the human warrior. But they each of them also have a vial, a green vial that probably holds about as much as a cup, maybe less. And the barbarian, the human male, and the dwarf have both shattered their green vials, but the priestess is still intact.
Can we infer their cause of death?
Make a medicine check.
Djukovic hands him the Great 8 Ball for guidance. The mystical ball
So it's plus a d4.
Yeah, one
Yeah.
more. Yeah, I guess you can shake it and tell us what it says to you to do.
It would appear that they did not starve. It would appear that they did not die of thirst. They have no wounds. There is no signs of disease. There is some signs of struggle, though the struggle does not seem to be prolonged. Each of them died in intense distress. Anyone guess?
Poison?
Possibly.
Mm,
Lack of blood.
They all no, they've got enough blood.
Can I check the bodies for like signs of a struggle, bruising,
Uh-huh.
things like maybe were they cuffed, bound,
Yeah.
gagged, anything like that?
None of those. Make either a medicine or investigation check. None of the above.
literally passing around the 8 ball at this point.
They choked. They all choked to death. They all ran out of breath. Every one of them. At the same time. More or
So,
less.
Can I then
Within minutes at least of each other.
can I then kind of like, as though you were trying to like perform CPR or whatever, kind of get my fingers right in there and see if there's anything lodged in the throat?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
Hmm.
They all appear to have choked on nothing.
Could I
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna
Yeah.
pull out go through like the belongings and like pull out the letter that the priestess pack has.
Uh-huh.
And
While you
try and-
pulled out the letter, you can see that it's kind of stained with a bit of a greenish liquid. It smells a bit like licorice. The liquid's origin seems to be that small green vial that she had. But the letter is what you're interested. So let's get that. Yeah, this is it. It's a scroll. The scroll has a seal. The seal is of a dragon, and the seal has already been broken. Somebody's already read this scroll. Do you dare read it?
Mm, can I take out my tools and like sort of inspect it for like dark magic or some enchantment?
Absolutely. Yeah, make an investigation roll.
Investigation, and I throw my 8 ball down with all my other tools I've set up on the floor, shake it. I guess I'll see what it says for a bit. I'm gonna redo that. I'm gonna use my
Yeah.
inspiration, and then
No.
roll a d4. Oh,
Seems to be an important letter, instructive parchment, the sort of thing that nobilities might send to other nobles. But apart from the fact that the seal's already been broken, there's nothing distinct about it.
okay. Like 8 ball just says, don't overthink it. That's all it says to me.
Don't overthink it.
I'll
Oh, you!
I'll unfurl the letter slowly, I guess, hoping we don't all choke to death.
It's written in a strong hand, dark print.
What time is it? I'd read that aloud for everyone to hear.
This arena sounds to be in deep trouble.
Barovia? Has anyone heard of that?
No?
No, it's a new one for me.
You alright?
one of the bodies start coughing.
I think he just choked on his drink.
Yeah. Hey, it's that life, that DM.
Yeah.
I am reeling from that. My God, I just tried to drink a bit of water and like I choked. It was prophetic. I choked. I think we have found the cause of death.
It was
You're gonna get
almost-
mindless
They
water.
choked on nothing.
It was almost natural selection for you, I think.
You're gonna get the boneless water.
yeah,
He
boneless.
gets really into that shit.
Unbelievable. The boneless water.
Can I take the Dungeoneer's pack? I'll just take most of the stuff from the dwarf. If anyone, unless someone else has already taken stuff from the dwarf.
No, I only took the letter from the priestess.
If it serves my kin, it'll serve me.
Do I recognize the golden ankh as being tied to either sun or moon?
Make a religion check.
And if no one else is gonna inspect the green vial
Definitely
to
not.
try and...
Sorry. I shouldn't have.
No, that was my bad. If no one else is gonna inspect the green vial to try and figure out what it is, I guess I could do it.
Yeah, cool. Go ahead and make an alchemy check. Yeah, the ankh is for some foreign god that you've never heard of in any research you've ever done.
Okay, I'll pocket the symbol.
I'm proficient in alchemy, alchemist supplies. Does that give me, like, do I make an alchemist check or?
Yeah, if you have proficiency in alchemist tools, you can make that sort of check if you've got it. Yeah.
I don't know how to do I just? Oh, there, I just did it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. And when you've got the kit, it'll give you advantage. So it'll be an 11 in this case. The substance smells like liquid. It seems harmless. It's liquid. I meant licorice. The substance. Yes, I like licorice. So it's probably some. It's like licorice juice or sarsaparilla or something. It's a peculiar type of sarsaparilla or licorice juice, but as far as you can tell, that's all it is.
I'll announce that I have it, and then I'll run experiments on it to see if it's safe.
There's only a little bit of trace liquid left. It appears that it was all consumed, and the other two were smashed, so they were either consumed or were broken as well. Yeah. So there's not much else to go on, just the strong smell of licorice. So we're using the variant encumbrance rule. So if you're not carrying anything, you can probably chuck it in the wagon. Or it's a big tough donkey, so she's likely to be able to carry a fair bit. But just something to keep in mind.
You can also turn that one in the settings on in the right column. There's encumbrance, and you have a click down menu. You can adjust it so it'll tell you if you're ever encumbered or not.
The variant encumbrance?
Yep.
Yes, please.
Oh, yeah, I'm heavily encumbered.
That means I think your movement is down by 20 feet or something.
What?
I'm putting stuff in the.
It makes it easier to run away.
So.
It means you can carry up to 5 times your strength score without being encumbered, and then I think it's 10 times, and then it's heavily encumbered, and then beyond 15 times, I don't think you can move.
Wait, okay, so what times?
5 times, within 5 times your score is
Okay. Yeah, most of my shit's going to the.
it's a brutal rule when enforced, hey, encumbrance. It it really particularly hurts low strength cleric.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm putting stuff as unequipped, but it's still not. It's not taking it away from my total.
Yeah, it's
What I do is I put parentheses around the weight of anything I'm not carrying.
Does that fix it? That's cool.
Yeah, it keeps it from adding it to your total weight.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is smart.
That's interesting to know. Yeah, it's good work.
Cool.
Alright, so
Yeah, wait, it's for the most part it won't affect you. It's just when we hit combat, that's when you'll notice the rule if you're carrying all your stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's it's usually not going to be an issue, but it will become an issue at some stage, and you'll be glad that you've given it some forethought.
Yeah.
You will learn very quickly to specify at the start of any combat. I put down my bag of equipment.
Yeah.
Just keep it in the wagon from the start. I mean, then
Yeah.
goblins will
Yeah.
steal it, but oh well.
I'm gonna put that in the cart for sure.
All I need to have in
Yeah,
the cart
cool.
is the armor and the and the bedroll. No one rolled for that dwarf's money?
I think I did.
Okay.
Someone rolled all money, didn't they?
Yeah.
Rolled really well for a good few of those.
Anyone take
All
that
of
black
them.
eyeliner?
Yep.
Damn.
Would you like some?
No, it's fine.
Did anyone take that studded leather?
I did.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna fashion it for the I'm gonna fashion it for my sparked armor.
I have a bit of a strange request for everybody. I feel like we should bury these people.
Aye. Return the dwarf to the storm.
Do you have a spade?
I think I have a shovel. Maybe not. I have a shovel in another game.
I remember something about a shovel. But I don't have one now.
I don't have a shovel.
We can make a cairn.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Make a can?
Mm.
Sure.
The crows never really left, but you know a lot of their boldness has returned, and they're coming back and clawing at you. They're keeping a distance, but watching as you work. So you strip the corpses to a pretty thorough degree. What is then done with the bodies?
Make a can for them. Stack stones on them.
Alright, it's pretty hard to find that many stones, but there's some big logs as well, massive pieces of timber, and given enough time, you'll be able to do it. But it's going to take a fair bit of time. There's not that many stones just lying around. You're probably going to have to walk into the forest, into the mist. Are you willing to do that? Ah, mold earth.
I can do that.
Oh, you can bury them. Okay.
Yeah,
There you
I always forget about it.
go. There you go. That'll take 20 seconds.
Alright. They are buried, and there's a laneway. As you look down upon these people that you didn't know, who worshipped a god you've never heard of, do you have anything to say, to offer? Anything you want to do?
No, it's just like just silence. And yeah, once the process is done, that's it.
The wagon rolls on, and the crows fly down, and as you're disappearing, they're landing around the grave and looking at it and inspecting it and looking up at you and the wagon and your donkey and your graves and you and the wagon and the donkey and the graves.
Thanks for doing that, Min. I really appreciate that.
No worries. Here to help.
Somewhere in the distance, a wolf howls. in the distance that you're traveling in the direction you're going.
Oh.
And another one answers on a different side, different part of the forest.
Do any rustling in the woods?
Make a perception check. You do. There's a creature in there, some sort of beast that might weigh 100 pounds. It's about 120 feet up ahead on the left-hand side, and it's moving maybe 20 feet in off the road's edge.
There is something up ahead.
What is it?
About
What do you see?
100. The large beast.
Crash!
walking in the woods. Fuck.
You hear something break, like breaks a tree. You know, maybe a tree that's 10 feet tall with a girth of 6 or 7 inches. It's crash. A tree that large has just been broken in half. Up ahead, right where Augustin was gesturing. There's movement in the bushes, but you can't see. The wavering of the pine trees and pine cones rain down.
It's a very large beast, apparently.
Goodness, take my mace out.
I will ready my bow.
Doesn't bode well.
Swords out.
I ready my mushrooms.
Is it coming closer?
It's suddenly quiet. There's no movement at all, no noise. So you're still 120 feet away from the origin of the sound, but it's 20 feet inside the road's edge. You can't see a thing. You can't even really hear anything now. Maybe the distant cawing of crows, but there's none within bowshot.
Oh. Someone keep an eye on the other side of the... I'll keep my eyes on the...
Yeah, I'm gonna move up, and as I do, you know, I quick prayer to the sun to guide my eyes, and I'm gonna try and like scan the immediate kind of area for any large beast moving through.
Okay. When you're at about 70 or 80 feet, the bush moves again, shudders, more pine cones fall. They're 20 foot off inside the forest edge, and maybe 50, 60, 70 feet from where you're standing.
Can we not see it because it's foggy?
You can't see it because of the thick underbrush. It's like looking into a forest, and 20 feet of thick forest.
Mic
or
off.
In this case,
Can
it's
I
just impenetrable. But you can see the movement.
can I grab like a big stick and like throw it in at the underbrush?
Yeah, sure. Make an improvised weapon attack, ranged weapon.
Just strength.
I think so. Yeah.
I'll draw my bow. I'll draw my bow with is something in case something.
All right. You crash your log somewhere in the direction, and there's movement. And then something comes crashing out of the bush. You have a 2 or 3 seconds to prepare as you see all the branches wiggling and wobbling and pine cones falling and birds take to the wing. Something is trampling its way through that forest, and it's about to break out onto the road about 40, 50 feet in front of whoever's in the lead of your...
I start backing up a lot very quickly as far as I can go.
Oh, it's scratches on its back.
On its side, mostly.
Okay, I will scan the trees to make sure nothing else is jumping out. Maybe something is chasing it.
Uh-huh.
It is.
Make a perception
We
check.
did hear the wolves.
We did. And you still do hear the wolves. They're still out there in the distance, several miles away. There are ravens. There are crows who have gathered or who are gathering to witness this episode. But no sign of any predator. No, neither smell nor sound nor any visual clue.
I will stay back.
And the great stag takes a few steps towards you and bellows again. A few more steps and collapses. Falls over on its side. It keeps struggling and tries to get up, but falls back over. Breathes heavily. Starts coughing up blood. Anton.
I'm going to look very confused, and then inspire Dukovic, and that'll be my turn, I suppose. Just waiting for something to happen.
Vorag, this great big deer, this stag, has stumbled out of the bush, taken a few steps towards charging at you, and just fallen over. It doesn't seem to be to have control of its own legs. It can't get up.
I'm sort of under the impression that it's also being chased, since it's just collapsed. So I'm gonna hold out a javelin, and if some sort of predator bursts out, I'll toss a spear, a javelin at it.
You wait, but no sign. And Mindatus.
How far away are we from it?
50 feet or more.
I'd go like 15 feet closer and just trying to like calm it, I guess. Like looking at it, I don't know. Just trying to see if I can help it somehow. I was gonna
Make
do
an
something,
animal
but
handling
quick
check,
roll.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Oof.
Alright, it bellows with an insane, hateful cry. Nelenwe, you'll go. Alright.
He's typing.
Alright. The creature is, you heal its wounds, but when you get there, you see that they're quite superficial. It's taken some scratches as it's crashed through the underbrush, and that's caused it to bleed. But that's not the problem here. This great beast, this huge stag, is dying before your eyes, but not of any cut or broken bone. It flounders like a fish out of water. What does the party do with it? It's not exactly defenseless. You could get close and it might thrash its head
Is it-
around and injure you, but it's just lying on the ground, dying in front of you.
Is it suffocating?
Make a medicine check.
Guidance.
You have an extra D4 from guidance.
There you go.
No. Doesn't seem to be suffering. Doesn't seem to be choking. It appears to be so ill that it's dying, but it must also be suffering from some mental malady as well. That's
Mic on.
Looks like it's sick. Really, really sick.
How does his eyes look?
Mad. Like, in fact, looking inside its eyes, you see little parasites squirming within the pupils and irises.
Let's just put it out of its misery.
Agreed.
And I guess I'll take the sickle and, like, if someone wants to help me hold the head still and just clean slice across the throat, I guess.
Oh,
I turn away.
I'll just take out my rapier and stab it in between its ribs into the heart.
So does Anton.
When you burst the heart, all sorts of grubs and worms pour out of the tissue within its massive muscular heart.
Ah, shit! And I start flailing it around, getting the maggots. It's fucking disgusting.
I'm really beginning to find this place uncomfortable.
We already buried those other people, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
We should have probably dissected them a bit to see if they had these in them as well. It just seems a bit coincidental, don't you think?
But it wasn't suffocating, like whoever said. Like Anton said.
I guess.
It just ate something rotten and... Oh. Well. Maybe ate a nest of some parasite and was unfortunate.
Dukovic will kind of get a little bit closer and have a look. Does it look like it's an arcana? Like, I feel like it's a spell that's inflicted upon it, or if it was like a natural sort of happening?
Yeah, you can make an arcana check, yeah. What did you get? 10? Very difficult to determine. Particularly being in a foreign land, it would be easy to mistake something that is like a natural parasite for something magical, and vice versa.
Okay. I'll just step away without saying anything and just move on.
All right. Moving on. Here we are. This road has continued for a very long time. And it seems every 100 paces you take, you hear another wolf howl from previously unread direction. Many of the stones of this road have been removed. It was a beautiful old cobblestone road, but here it's a ruin. There are puddles of dark water here and there, potholes that mirror the cloudy sky above and muddy the roadway, causing the wagon to get jammed and require lifting and pushing. Giant trees, mostly pines, but also oaks and walnut on the either side of the road. Branches leering towards you, clawing at the mist and occasionally scratching your face as you walk along past. And wolves howling. You trudge on. You've only been traveling for a few hours. 6, 8, no one's really sure. But the sky is darkening.
Still no village in sight. We should make camp.
It feels a little early for sunset, does it not?
Hey, I'm not even tired yet.
It's hard. It's tell in this forest.
Should have asked how long the path was gonna be.
I think
We did
but
several
those,
times, I believe. Never got
those-
a specific answer.
Those Vistani or whatever they called themselves that were very cryptic in their answers, so they never gave us a straightforward. Well, yeah, length of time. It was just along the road or on the edge of the forest. Yada yada yada.
So shall it be a camp?
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess.
All right. When we start to make camp, Dukovic will start setting up the alarm spell around the camp.
Mm-hmm. Do you choose a clearing, or would you rather somewhere that's more where the forest is encroaching upon your camp?
I think a clearance would be best.
Aye.
Right, the decision is made. So you pick the biggest area that you can find. It has no trees. It looks like people have camped here before at some stage. There's old split water bottles and discarded shoes, a rusted belt buckle, a pouch that has no coins in it. It's clearly people have camped here before. People like you. Would you like to set yourselves up for the night while I put down a wagon?
Can you drag me a token? I, for some reason, can't do it on my laptop.
No worries.
I'm bringing the donkey inside the alarm.
All right.
So I'll designate obviously the like squirrels and those sort of animals won't set off the
Yeah.
alarm. Plus a donkey can't set off the alarm.
Okay.
Unless bloody pumpkin wants to go to the toilet and wakes me up in the night.
Absolutely. Yes. The thing is, you don't really get to sleep in the first place. Because by the time the sun has set, the sky is dark with bats. They come by the dozen. At first, they come by the dozen. Then they come by the score. And then by the 100. Then there must be thousands. There is an uncountable number of bats that just fly overhead like some velvet blanket, blocking as the mist recedes enough for the first time that you begin to see the stars, the twilight night, a vision of dark blue and indigo that you catch just before the night swallows it completely. Nothing but blackness and stars and bats, so many bats and wolves. Now that the sun has set, it seems that it has driven the wolves to celebrate. They howl, and howls are answered, and answered, and answered again. And as you unpack and unroll and rearrange, and as you decide whether or not you'll build a fire or eat cooked food or have warmth. It seems that the howls grow closer. It seems that way. Difficult to tell. We have a
Can
fire.
Can I get up into the cart and try and, well, I'll get up in the cart and try to keep an eye out.
Djokovic will throw the 8-ball to you, and you can keep that on you.
Okay.
Just shake it for some help, I guess.
So should I roll a perception?
No.
Okay.
What I need to know is, are we having a fire?
I assumed we would.
All right.
Yeah.
Are we having a big blazing fire, one that illuminates the entire area and will provide ample light, or do we have something much more subdued, suitable only for cooking and keeping us warm?
It's cold and scary. I'd like a big fire.
I suggest a small fire, and I'll keep a look, and I'll have dinner for every night.
Could I make a nature check to know if the wolves are naturally scared of fire? Like
You can. It's only DC 10.
nature.
What'd you get?
A 19.
Yeah, wolves are definitely. They're afraid of fire. They're afraid of people. Wolves are, they're good predators and they're great pack hunters, but in a wild world with dragons and spellcasters and saber-toothed tigers, wolves are far from being apex predators, and they know their place. And yeah, they're very difficult to tame, but not impossible. They make pretty good companions, all things considered. No, they're not a particularly brave species.
Okay. I suggest we have a big fire. The wolves don't really like it. They'd stay away.
Aye, and if we're set upon, those that can't see in the dark would be better off.
It's awful cold
Are
out as
the,
well.
are the wolves still getting closer?
It seems so, but it's very difficult to perceive because, you're like, oh no, they're a long way away. Oh shit, that one's not. You know what I mean? They're coming from all directions, and they do seem to be Marco Polo sniffing you out, but it might be your imagination.
Could I get a rough sense of how many there are?
Yeah, you can make an insight check. Yeah.
Would I have guidance for this?
Yeah.
I threw the 8-ball to you.
Yeah.
There are multiple packs, and each pack has multiple wolves. Yeah, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 wolves. They're the numbers that, are as good as any. The bats, meanwhile, you can count 1,000.
It seems this land has about as many wolves as it does bats. There are several packs out tonight.
We should really get this fire started then. Yes, Djokovic will start working in the fire, lighting it at like a nice blaze.
Do the bats seem to be circling ahead, or are they just flying here and there? Or is there any pattern at all?
Right. You have a relatively cheery meal, thanks to It's Mindaris that's doing the cooking. Is that right?
Yeah, I just cast Goodberry. I've flavored it as
Oh,
good mush.
that's not a cheery meal. That's a shit meal.
It's
That's
mushrooms. Come on, that's all I
Oh,
asked for.
well, I mean, I'm not judging you, but I thought you were cooking. But no,
No.
like Mindaris is like, okay, everyone, we're gonna have dinner now, and hands you each a small, soft piece of fungi.
I'll have one ration of sausage,
Look,
olives, and
No, look,
whatever that is.
have a go.
Could you
See how
pass?
you feel.
Could you pass those sausages as well once you're done with them?
Yeah, I'll give you another ration.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, sausages.
You're literally
it's
eating the
sausage,
dead man's food over the magic berry, or fungus
It's not a
rather.
bad- Hey, magic mushrooms are not something to be taken lightly.
No, look, have a go. I ate one.
No.
I'm gonna
And
take
Ton
And
eats
I-
3.
take the smallest
Okay,
little
so that's-
nibble. Not bad. Eat the rest of it.
It fills you up. It's got flavor, but it's not a particularly good flavor. But when you're done, you don't really feel like eating anything anymore. You get a bit of a cramp in your belly, like you've eaten too much.
Ooh.
I'll take my berry. I'll take my mushroom, but I won't eat it yet. Dukovic kind of wants to see if there's any like squirrels or rabbits kind of hanging around the outside of our camp. Not too far away,
Really?
but on the outside.
Yeah, you find a fat hare, brown with white underneath, and you nearly get it, but it gets away. But you're on its trail, and you nearly got it, and it gets away. But you're on its trail, and you look over your shoulder, and you can't see the party anymore. You can still hear them setting up camp, but you've gone just so far into the mist that you think you can make out the wagon and the donkey, but there's the rabbit, there's the hare. You can see it.
Yeah, no, not worth it. I don't want to be stuck out here alone in the night. I'm going back. It's not worth it.
You head back empty-handed.
It's,
Arctic just really wants to separate someone from the party and torment them.
yeah.
Well, sausages for some, mushrooms for others.
I'll have a mushroom.
Aye, Vorig. I think it's time you break out that cask.
All right. Drank some. Gave some of it to the Vistani, though.
Waste if you ask me, but yours to make.
A wolf howls no more than a mile away, probably less.
Break out some of the cask.
I do not think the time for drinking.
Just a light drink.
How you
I'll
gonna-
have a
Give me a
drink.
swig. Fuck, give me a swig.
Not time for drinking.
He takes a big swig.
Just to warm us up. Come on. Yeah. Just a cup to each of us then. That wants some.
Yeah.
It's another wolf howl, but it's so distant. It must be 2 or 3 miles at least.
Let's take a drink. Cheers.
And
Right,
another
you can
one.
see that you can see that Augustin is visibly unable to
Oh, all right then, I suppose. For camaraderie, I've got an excuse.
I guess while we're all sitting down and they're all doing that, I'm gonna try and do a ritual cast of identify on the green stuff, green licorice stuff.
Ah, magic. You discover it is completely unmagical.
Can I?
It's
Can
a nice little magic jar though. Like it looks like a potion. It really looks like a potion. It smells like a potion, but it's licorice sarsaparilla juice.
Can I do the same but with a detect poison and disease?
Yeah, the same thing. You discover that it is neither poisoned nor diseased. It's suitable for children.
I'm gonna dip my finger and have a taste then.
Yeah, licorice, sarsaparilla. It's sweet. It's strong, but it's sweet. You either like it or you don't. You know, it's one of those flavors. If you're into new things, you'll probably like it. But if you don't like new things, this is probably just overpowering.
I think Dukevich is probably addicted now. He needs to find the source of this.
Oh, aniseed, licorice. What was the other? Maybe a bit of mulberry juice, blackberry juice.
Yeah,
Pretty nice.
he needs to find this source.
Yeah. And soon enough, the party is over. You've celebrated, you've drank, you've eaten, you've made merry of the light of the situation, and you've got, yeah, what was your fire? Was it a blazing fire or just a campfire?
I suggest low because I can look into the darkness better.
Yeah, I think we all decided on blazing now.
Blazing. Yeah.
Oh,
Blazing fire!
Great balls of fire.
Has to be fed continually throughout the night. So who's going to be doing the watch?
I'll take first watch.
Uh-huh.
Augustine could take first watch as well.
Well,
I only meditate for 4 hours, so
there'll be enough of you to put double watches on then, and with the elf taking 2 watches or more. Is there anyone who protests of taking a watch?
No, I'll take a watch.
Right. First watch passes without incident, although there is the ever encroaching howl of wolves. They close in as the mist closes in, but your fire seems to burn them away. Who do you pass your watch on to?
I wake up Vorig.
All right. Vorig, who do you take as a partner for your watch?
Who was in the first watch?
Augustine and Alone Way.
Alright, I'll wake up old Sven.
All right, Sven. So you pair are watching, Vorig and Sven, and during your watch you observe a wolf. You've heard countless wolves from countless directions, but this one is looking at you. It's over here, in the top left, and it's a distance of not too far away. It's little more than 50 feet away.
Also,
It's hiding among the forest. You don't know how long it's been there. It's hiding among the forest, and it's softly panting and watching you, dark timber wolf. Its fur so grey as to be black.
I sort of crouch between Alenway and Mindatus, like ready to wake them up if I spot any more wolves or if that one goes to move.
Hey, should we leave him be or do you want me to scare him off?
Here, I'll pass you a javelin.
What's the range on javelin?
3120. Yeah. I think I'll remember that from now on.
I don't need to use that. I've got my own ways.
All right, suit yourself.
Not a pleasant feeling. This Sven will kind of steady himself, pointing out a finger towards the wolf and cast Eldritch Blast.
Beautiful. The elf is dodging, but so you have disadvantage on the attack.
The elf?
The elf, the wolf.
I was like, what?
I'm dodging in my
God damn
sleep.
it, it's a druid!
The elf, the wolf. It's similar words. Anyway, it's a great shot, and you blast at this thing with 11 points of damage.
Because it was not advantage, so it wasn't.
No, so just 6. Of course, I guess 11 would really hurt a wolf. It yelps and you knock it off its feet. It tumbles and disappears into the darkness.
Fuck, I didn't know you could do that.
It's a trick this old man's picked up along the way.
some sort of sorcerer.
Hey, who knows?
Look into the other, like the direct opposite direction from where that first wolf is to see if I see any other wolves like circling around.
Old Sven, make a percentile check. D100. Alright, what does your Eldritch Blast normally look like?
It's kind of not anything too flashy, but like kind of seems like a purple beam of light, but not like a dark bright purple. You know, something a bit more transparent, like a wave that for a moment looks like you're looking through stained glass, perhaps.
Alright. Your Eldritch Blast behaved as you might have expected until the point of impact. And as it reached the point of impact, it transformed into a dark, shadowy purple skull and bit into the face of the wolf, which made it yelp.
I think at first he might not have really noticed it too much because he had his confidence. You know, he wasn't focusing on the thing after the shot had been fired. Staring at it's not going to make it change course. And then a few moments later, it's kind of hang on. What? And he's looking back. I mean, the wolf's not there anymore, so he's not going to fire out another blast. But he's pondering on this, like that's not what normally happens.
Shortly before it's time to swap watches, you hear the sound of a great blast that echoes throughout the misty night sky, like an explosion. But there's no repercussions. Just one blast, a couple of miles away, and then nothing.
Hey, that can't be good, Varg.
It wakes everyone up. So it serves as a good time to change shifts.
Alright.
What the bloody hell was that?
Dunno, maybe a wizard's doing battle.
It's a kind of half days, just roll back over and immediately back to sleep.
Perfect. Alright, so the elf is now rested. Who does that leave for the third and fourth watches?
Dukovic.
Uh-huh.
And Anton.
Alright. Each of you roll a d33.
And I'm gonna, during my watch the entire time, I'm gonna ritually cast Speak with Animals every time it runs out.
Okay, how long does it last?
So it lasts 20 minutes, and it takes 11 minutes to do.
Alright, yeah, cool. You keep going through the rituals throughout the night. Makes you a bit hungry, but you know, it keeps you
I got,
busy.
I got a couple of extra berries. No one else ate theirs.
You got a good point. Alright.
Does that work? Yeah,
Yeah,
that did. Cool.
that's good. That's good.
You rolled D33, not 1D. Is that changed at all?
No, that should be right.
No, that's I think. Oh, yeah, that should be right. Yeah, that'll be right. Yeah. All right.
See, yeah, it works. Hey.
Nice.
Okay.
69.
Throughout the evening, throughout the night, the wolf howls grow ever closer until by the time Anton is taking his watch, there can be no doubt that they have now come from all directions, and you begin to see the flickering of yellow eyes lit up there at the very edge of the campfire. They sit there softly growling. The sharpest of you, sharpest of eyes, can see their jaws slavering. They're keeping their distance for now.
I think it's time for everybody to wake up. Our furry friends are back. In force.
I
What?
stoke the fire.
Friends? Where?
Let me talk to them, see if they know anything. And I speak to. I announce them, I guess. I speak to all of them.
Take your
And I
first. Yeah. What do you say?
tell
What are your first words?
we mean you no harm. Because I didn't know that they attacked that one wolf, so I wouldn't know.
The wolves look at each other, and then they snarl. We shall find out what they do on next week's episode of Curse of Strahd.
They all break into song and dance.
Yeah, it's
Is-
a
Oh,
Disney
my
will-
honey.
flash mob v flash mob.
They're just gonna say no, but we mean you harm.